So please mute yourself when you are not speaking and unmute when it's your time to speak. And what the moderator, she's very professional. If you said 1 minute, please round up. So I welcome everyone to this event, and Ambassador Vanessa, I hand over to you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Vanessa Henderson, and I'm an ambassador for the WOOP organization. And I'm also the host of the Van Miller Talk Show. I found my voice where truly we have allowed ourselves as a woman to speak our voice, because most of the time we're told that, you always have had a voice. But at 60 years old, I realized as a woman that I had a voice, and thus the Van Miller Talk Show. And so I am so honored, Dr. Okika, to just be the moderator today for such an amazing project, because truly we are living in a time when women and children are being eradicated, gotten rid of in a world that we're living in today, and no one seems to be concerned. So I feel that what is going on today is in a major need, not only here in America, but around the world, for women and children, in order that we be able to stand up and speak up for ourselves. And today is an amazing day for so many beautiful women, and there are some men here as well, to have been able to come together to put forth what is needed in the next 16 days for what it is that the project that has been placed before us. And if we don't do it now, when? And if you're not a part of it, then why? And who are you? And I said, today I even have my coffee said, you are an amazing woman.
Are you serious?
I remind myself every day that I am a queen, no matter whether anybody says it to me or not. So we as women have to understand that no matter where we are, what is going on in our lives, that we are amazing queens. So Dr. Okika, we're gonna pass it over to you. I ask that you all be aware, please mute yourself if you're not speaking, and let's go get started.
Thank you, Ambassador Vanessa. The 16 days activism against gender-based violence has been a global cankerworm, and issues concerning women is very pertinent to the United Nations. And because it's very pertinent, of course, we all know about the Beijing Declaration and the platform, the Beijing Conference in 1994. And out of the decision, the 12 items that were decided at that, 4 important issues were realized from the conference. And one of these 4 important issues is ending violence against women. So the issue about domestic violence and violence, all forms of rape, domestic sexual abuse, and whatever, has been a concern to the global community. And in the past 30 years, the issue about 16 days activism against gender-based violence has been in place. And there has been also unite to end violence against activists. That will show you what the United Nations is doing, and also the member states across the world. But what pains me right now is from the foundation where our grandparents experiencing gender-based violence. What brought about this gender violence in this time of millennium, where both men and women seem to be at least 80% educated? Unlike the times of our ancestors, where there was nothing like education. So has education done more harm than good to women? So these are some of the concerns. And each year, the event is 16 days. It starts from November the 25th and ends on December 10th, which is the United Nations Day for Human Rights. But the question is, where has this noise awoken from? This dust on gender-based violence that Men who violate women forget that that woman is either your mother, your sister, your girlfriend, your wife, your niece, or your cousin, or even your colleague in the office. Why can't we appreciate human beings as one, as we appear in the eyes of God? God created us one. What is wrong that this time we are into every year, you hear since Thursday, everybody, violence against women and violence against women. Next year is going to be the same. The worst of all, the COVID-19 came in the worst situation that even more women were violated than before. What is wrong with our generation? What has triggered this action? Because when I grew up with my grandparents, I never heard that there's something like violence against women. All I know is that if a man beat his wife, the men in that committee will go and beat the man up. Because my tribe believe that if you want to be a man, fight your fellow man. Don't touch women. Women are protected, women are guided, women are secured. What has gone wrong with our generation? This is a concern that we need to start talking about. And I want to thank Her Royal Majesty, Her Majesty, the Queen Mother Saida of Numidia Kingdom for her passion in bringing this up into the women, about the women folk. And through her initiative, Gender Life Initiative, she wants to tell the world that the women in the kingdom also need to be protected. They also experience violence against women. We also need strategy. We also need information, resources, and education to fight this violence against women among the women in Numa and Numidia kingdom. And so that is why we are here, with respect to the women of the Numidia kingdom, organized by the office of Her Majesty, the Queen Mother of the Kingdom, and the Ministry of Women, Children, and Youth Affairs of the Kingdom. We want to appreciate His Majesty, the King of the Kingdom, who is also here in the Zoom to support his wife, because we say behind every successful woman there is a man. Or is it the other way around? He's always there to support his wife. In fact, I was fighting with him because I think we should give a clap of her, because he made the flyer and he spent time to make the flyer. I say, yes, that is what we need to know, that men, instead of violating us, support us. So we need to appreciate him for making this flyer that went right, even at the last minute. This morning, is a doctor that stopped disturbing me about this flyer. I said, this is ending violence against women. So, Your Majesty, if you're on the line, can you say hi to the women and to the participants on that? Then after Her Majesty, I'll be able to. The next thing is, okay, Your Majesty, can you unmute and say hi?
Yes, I can. And thank you so much, Dr. Akika. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. His Majesty, can you say hi too? Yeah, don't go too much, your queen,
yes,
because you still
yes.
speak. Yes, we just
I
want
like
to hear the voice of His Majesty.
say that again.
And we need the king to say greetings to the women of the
Oh,
kingdom.
yes.
I want to say greetings to everyone. It's a pleasure being here today. I had long conversations with Madam Prime Minister Dr. Okika to Numi Kingdom about establishing this special program, Ministry of Women and Children and Youth, and protections of the women and children, as you mentioned, over history between women, children, and the young men and young boys that have been victimized by sexual abuse or how you want to say it, malicious against children and women. So again, I'm in full support, and I have ordained this ministry to be head by LaShannon Church and also Madam Prime Minister, and also head up by the Queen of Numi. It's very important that we establish this president of making history in this kingdom or protecting our women and children. full support of the Crown. And also I want to reach out to our people in India. History need to be, and information need to be taught to the men globally, because it's come from men, not women. The problem is not women, it's the men. So we have to educate our men so it won't be a problem in the future. Thank you, Madam Prime Minister.
Thank you so much, Your Majesty. I think we all agree with me that for what all the support, we should crown him a he for she. You know, he is a he for she. So we thank you for your support. And we are now going to give the message of the United Nations General Secretary, Mr. Antonio Guterres, to the world on November 25th in regard to the 16 days activism against gender-based violence.
Violence against women and girls continues to be the most pervasive and pressing human rights issue in the world today. It is both an abhorrent crime and a public health emergency with far-reaching consequences for millions of women and girls in every corner of the globe. The latest figures from UN Women confirm that during the COVID-19 pandemic, levels of violence against women and girls have increased. Across 13 countries, almost half of all women reported that they or a woman they know began to experience gender-based violence during the pandemic. Almost a quarter of women reported that household conflicts had become more frequent. A similar proportion said they felt less safe at home. Violence in any part of society affects us all, from the scars on the next generation to the weakening of the social fabric. We can draw a straight line between violence against women, civil oppression, and violent conflict. From rape and sexual slavery used as tools of war to the thread of misogyny that runs through violent extremism. But violence against women is not inevitable. The right policies and programs bring results. That means comprehensive, long-term strategies that tackle the root causes of violence, protect the rights of women and girls, and promote strong and autonomous women's rights movements. This is the model that the United Nations has built through its partnership with the European Union, the Spotlight Initiative. Last year, in partner countries, we saw a 22% increase in prosecution of perpetrators. 84 laws and policies were passed or strengthened, and more than 650,000 women and girls were able to access gender-based violence services despite restrictions related to the pandemic. Change is possible. Now is the time to redouble our efforts so that together we can eliminate violence against women and girls by 2030.
That's excellent. And the team says, sisters join together, education and stopping gender-based violence. Sorry. No, when you are not professional. So that's it. So together we can come together as we are discussing today on Sisters Join Together, Education and Stopping Gender-Based Violence. With this, I hand over to the moderator, and I want to request everyone to mute your video except when you are called to speak. Mute yourself, mute your video. Only the moderator and the speaker, the presenter video will be shown on the screen. Kindly mute yourselves as we get into so that we can have a clearer recording. I'm muting myself out of video, and Ambassador Vanessa and the Queen Mother will be on the screen.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
mute out yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Okika. And at this time, we are honored to have Her Majesty Queen Reyes from Numeri to speak to us on what it is that we can do as women around the world to further the cause of violence against women and children. Her Majesty.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you so
so
much.
much. Greetings, everyone, and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those of us who are in different parts of the world. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today for the Numidia Kingdom Ministry of Women and Children and Youth Affairs. As it is sisters joined together, stopping gender-based violence. I am Queen Saida of the Numai Aboriginal Theocratic Kingdom. The Numai Aboriginal Theocratic Kingdom is based in Atlanta, Georgia. For me, the women are the queen of the earth. That is why she is called Mother Earth. Through her, she is the women that bring life, because we are the life givers. She, the woman, we bring life, and all women have to stand in power and recognize our significance by standing in our power. Our ambition here with Numai is to inspire and encourage women and young girls to recognize their God-given potential and to pursue excellence and be undeniable by showcasing their talents and help women and girls know that they can do and be anything they want to by putting their minds to it. But what is it that will actually turn all of this around to help women in this time to be powerful? Or as they say today, to be a boss woman, to be able to mind their business, create businesses out of anything, because that's what women do. We create nothing into something, okay? So in order for us to inspire and encourage women and young girls to recognize that potential and to pursue excellence, we have to help them to showcase their talents and help women and girls know that they can do, okay? Education is globally acknowledged as the most powerful means of empowering girls and women and protecting them from violations of their human rights. How else would they understand them? Basic education is very important because that is something that's going to open the doors to other higher learning. So we have to invest in our girls and women in education and transform and even save lives. The lives of girls and women and the lives of their families and their communities. Okay, so as it says today, that our theme is Sisters Join Together in Stopping Gender-Based Violations. There are too many incidents of gender violence. Some occur because we have abandoned, we have rejected, or given up. And we have, as women, have given up our power. We will help women and mothers reclaim their power. Our Ministry of Women and Children Affairs purpose is to protect women and girls and help them become self-reliant and confident by understanding their true ability and getting them back on track to a self-sustaining life by finishing very necessary educational classes, which will lead them on to more doors opening up for them. So what is it that we look to expect from the Numai Ministry? Our strategic planning will be to assist mothers with knowing thyself through the laws of Islam. And for those of you who know the true meaning of Islam, which is I, self, law, and master, we have to teach women to master their destiny and understanding their power and being able to self-identify and have self-awareness, which will provide strength and confidence. We also want to be able to provide finance classes to achieve financial stability and help women to acquire skills to start small businesses. Financial literacy is very important, so you can be that boss, because today, as we know it, if you don't have your own, guess what? You're lost, and you have to be submissive to someone else who is able to provide care for you. And we don't want that for our women. We want them to be able to stand up and be proud of themselves. And third, assist our elders to become computer literate, to build confidence amongst our senior women on how to navigate a computer. When you have the world at your fingertips, you can search anything and you can become anything, and you can know a lot. So we want to open the doors for them. We also want to support abused mothers. This is very important, who are struggling to speak their truth. Provide group sessions so that they can see that they are not alone. Help them regain their confidence to become stronger. We help teen expectant mothers, providing them community resources so that when their babies are born, they'll have everything that it is that they need. Also helping them with educational programs, because as an expectant mother, just having a baby is not the end of it. You have to be a role model for your children. We help to provide educated women in leading a powerful earning for better wages and living conditions and healthcare. All of this is for that. Once they go through that powerful education that they need to go through, they will be able to lead and become powerful, okay? And this will help them position and reposition anytime that they need to, because they always have something that they can fall back on. Planning consists of working locally and building new relationships and forming global partnerships to join in other advocates for stopping violence against women. I hope that my ministry will be able to follow in other people's footsteps, other organizations' footsteps, and join in those partnerships so that we can actually stop violence against women. Lift the woman up, lift her up, because when you lift her up, you lift your community up. And with that, I yield.
Thank you, Her Majesty. Wow, such amazing agenda that you have placed before us. And we, as the woman, have to put forth this and make sure that it happens. I saw someone in the chat say it's a great start. It's not a great start. We've already started. And our goal is to continue to make the achievements that need to be made. I am a part of a lot of other organizations, and I think that some of the other organizations that I'm in will help you with what it is that you're doing there as well. Thank you. Thank you so much. At this time, we're going to have Her Majesty, His Majesty King James, to respond with the commissioning of the Gender Life Initiative. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your Majesty, be yourself on video to speak.
I believe that you all got my picture blocked out.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
Can you all see me?
Yeah, don't worry. I'll start you now. Yes.
Greetings, everyone. It's very important to the Kingdom of Numi. Our corporate office is here in Atlanta that we work from, establishing our global platform on reaching out for humanitarian projects. It's very important that the discussions that I had with Madam Prime Minister Dr. Okika on violence against women that have to establish an appointment of this Ministry of Women Affairs. This appointment had to be extended out globally on to protect the women and children, even as a young man experienced violence against me as a young man. So I know that it's important that we have to protect our children in the future for our children and protect the women who nurture the children. So I point this commission to Dr. Okika as our acting Madam Prime Minister and appointing the Shannon Church of Ministry of Women Affairs. So you have my full authority and decree from the kingdom itself for this ministry to be acted out immediately. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Before I get in a moderator again, I want everyone to either you clap your hand or something, or do something to thank His Majesty for commissioning the Gender Life Initiative of the Women, Children and Youth Ministry of Numidia Kingdom. And we just do something positive to accord the initiative. You know, you don't know what it means to say Gender Life Initiative. That's the life of women. You know, we are looking at it from birth to adulthood, from zero to adulthood. So we are grateful to you for that, and we accord the women of the kingdom to ride on with this great initiative, Gender Life Initiative. When we talk about life of women, we are ending violence against women. We are stopping gender-based violence. We are ending rape. We are ending sexual abuse. We are ending intimidation, displacement from the decision table. Can we just begin to clap our hands for this wonderful initiative? When the Queen Mother came up with this, I said, wow, this woman must be something else. Gender Life Initiative. So, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All the way from South Africa, Ecuador, from India. Oh my God. Thank you so much. It's wonderful. Bravo, Your Majesty. Thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't see any. Oh, Nigeria is in the house. Oh my God. This wonderful Sierra Leone in the house. Wow. Great initiative. Can you see what we are going through? Wow. This is interesting. Thank you, everyone. So back to you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Okika. It is an amazing, amazing day, evening and night for wherever you are. We are just elated again to have been asked to host and be the moderator for such a special occasion. We're getting ready to go into our special guest session. This is the United Nations 16 Days Activism in Ending Violence Against the Women and Girls. And we have the Queen Mother, Nina Womack, who is going to be speaking to us in this session.
She's not yet on, so the next speaker.
Okay, we have, I want to say Lisco. She's with Public Relations and Communication Consultant with Health Advocate from South Africa.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Beautiful.
I'm well, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not in Orange. My sister's getting married today, so
okay.
We are all in our Tswana traditional gear.
Well, congratulations to your sister, and thank you for taking time out to come to speak with us today.
Tell the man not to violate her because we'll come with fire.
Oh, yes.
Well, we're turning it over to you for you to let us know what it is that we can do our part for the initiative.
Thank you so much. This topic is a topic that is very, very close to my heart. I get very, very emotional when I talk about it. But I grew up in a household where GBV was the order of the day, and growing up, I resented men. I resented men, but I realized that men are different. People are different. people come from different backgrounds, and what we went through was what we call now as toxic masculinity, and it's something that is passed down to generations. And I took it upon myself that in the family, my siblings will not go through this. They will not pass it down to their children as well. The buck stops here and now. And I'm glad that they listened. They listened, and we have initiatives as well, like the Mentor a Boy Child, that I encouraged my siblings to go through. And I think it is important that men also get educated, they get mentored about such initiatives. And also, we have in South Africa, there's a gentleman called Patrick Shai. Patrick was a perpetrator. Now he is an advocate for gender-based violence, and he runs his own organization. We also have what we call the No Excuse by the South African Brewery. So we also encourage men to also go through therapy. Therapy is not something that only women should go through. Men are also encouraged, because this thing of saying that men do not cry, men need to be strong, it really doesn't work. Instead, it stirs up that anger in them, and that's when the toxic masculinity rises up. So as a youth, as a nation, we really cry out to men to that they must learn to express themselves and not express themselves in violence. So as somebody that has been through all of that, I really encourage men to also go through therapy or go through organizations as well. And also, you also have our support as the youth, as also from World Youth Leading Change, World Women Leading Change. We also support such initiatives. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and please enjoy the wedding.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Okika, is Mother Womack on yet?
Oh, not yet.
Okay, so we want to move forward with our keynote presentation.
Sure.
Okay. So Sisters Join Together, Education and Stopping Gender-Based Violence is the United Nations agenda. And so our keynote speaker for today is Professor Kiba Green, Minister of Health from the Numida Kingdom.
Greetings, everyone. Greeting, Your Majesty. Greeting to the beautiful Queen. Greeting to everyone who is here today. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, great. I was like, do I need my earpiece? All right, greetings, everyone. Thank you. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here today to represent both Numida Kingdom and the Ministry of Health, as well as an advocate or abolitionist, a person who's on the front line fighting every day for human rights, for human trafficking, abused, and neglected victims. It is my honor to be here. Ms. Vanessa, you know, we've done a lot of projects together, haven't we? Around human trafficking. So Ms. Vanessa know the fight that we've both been on the front lines fighting for many years for victims of human trafficking. It is my honor and my pleasure as an advocate, as I said, as a child, first of all, who grew up in a home of abuse and violence. I saw many days and nights of abuse in my home. My father was an advocate abuser against my mother for years. And by the grace of God, she did survive, and we, escaped those horrors. However, those traumas live today through us in various ways. You never get over it. I don't care how much therapy, I don't care how much praying, I don't care how much work you do on yourself, those things are embedded in us forever. With that being said, I think we have an obligation and a mandate to not only educate women, but we have to educate men. We have to educate men on anger, on violence. We have to educate men on how to honor the woman. And so we have a twofold job. So it's not just the women that we have to uplift and encourage and embrace and love on, but we also have to love on our men and find out what's the deep-rooted issue there that is causing them to be violent against our women and our girls. Because we know that boys are abused and neglected as well. But today we're talking about women. But what I mean by that is, what happened? What happened in the background there that made you so angry with yourself that you decided to take it out on the woman or the child that you were here and supposed to nurture and love and protect and shield? So those are things that I definitely want to work on in this ministry. Those are things that I want to fight for in this ministry, and I will fight for, not want to, but I will fight for in this ministry. It's definitely working on how to cater to both the men and the women to find an avenue to lessen the violence. We have 1 in 4 women have experienced abuse, whether it's physical or sexual. We have 6 out of 10 of these occur in a victim's house, which means they know their perpetrator. 1 in 3 girls will be sexually abused by 18. More than 90% of them know the victim. Again, that means they are aware of who this person is that is harming them, which is even worse. We know there are effects of abuse. 6 long-term effects is what we call them. Intergenerational trauma of abuse, which means that the cycle continues. We're either going to have children who either get into relationships with an abuser and or be the abuser. And the cycle continues. Re-victimization. Over and over. We wonder how, I know we all know someone we've said, oh my gosh, every time they get out of one situation, they're in another. But it's the trauma that's attracting the perpetrator in their life. And that's a different research that we can go into later. Physical health problems, stroke, diabetes, heart problems, gastrointestinal problems. These are all physical problems that come from being involved in trauma and or abuse. Suicidal behaviors, suicide ideation, meaning thoughts of suicide and or attempting suicide multiple times. I know people who've attempted suicide multiple times. Eating disorders and obesity. Alcohol and substance abuse are huge, especially today. Aggression, violence, and behavioral problems. We've seen an increase of aggression and behavior and violence from young women over the years. Think about that. We have more female gangs now. We have more female violence in schools now. Why? Because of the effects of trauma. Of course, sexual risky behaviors and homelessness. These are all effects of abuse and trauma that affect women and girls around the world. This research is from the United States, but this is global. This is a global problem. This is not a hometown United States of America problem. So I say that to say this. I am certified in trauma. I've researched trauma every day. This is my lifelong passion, is to find out how to connect the dots, how to find out how we can get in there and help those affected by trauma, and what can we do to retrain the synapses of the brain so that we can turn our life around. So I'm here on a mission with you all here with Numai, as well as with the sisters who are doing this wonderful program here. I am here, my feet on the ground. I'm here whenever you need me to go do the leg work, the groundwork. I promise you, I will get in the ditches with you. if that's what I need to do, to help bring up women and girls to make sure that they have what they need to come out and be successful on the other side of this. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your patience. I hope that I've given you some information that you can build upon. And if you need me, please call me for anything.
Thank you so much, Professor Green. And it is so amazing to some years ago, we worked on some things, and for it to come full circle back around is absolutely amazing. And let's get back in contact and do some new things. At this time, we are going to have our panel session moderator, Princess Seppi, will handle that part of the program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ambassador Vanessa. You are doing a great job as usual. You know, whenever I'm going to be coming after you, I get so intimidated. I would like to say greetings to His Royal Majesty, and also greetings to Her Royal Majesty from the Republic of Numidia Kingdom. All Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for having us here. This is Princess Seppi from the Royal Batokwa Nation. This is now the nation that is founded really by our Queen, Her Royal Majesty Queen Mantatisi. You can Google her so that you know better about us. We are founded by a woman, and even now her spirit still lives in us, the warrior woman who is not honored enough. So we come from that lineage of warrior women that are very strong, that are given a voice, and even if we are not given a voice, we know what authority is. So I'm so glad to be here, and I'm so happy, and I say congratulations to the Kingdom of Numidia for such a wonderful step that they've taken. And with those words, can I please have my panelists be highlighted and take the center stage? Dr. Okika, please help me. I see Sir Obafemi Richard Jegede, you are here. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. And all in your orange, thank you. May I have, let me call my team. The next, it will be Chief Monique Ogon of Women for Community.
She's joining in 10 minutes time from Nigeria. She's joining in less than 10 minutes. She's coming up.
She's coming, all right.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramatu Aziz.
She's having challenges calling in from Sierra Leone, but she's trying to join.
So do we have Noredia Douglas Jumbo? I think I saw that name.
Yes, I'm looking for her. Can you be on video, Nored?
I think I saw the name.
Please, on your video and come up. Don't allow the man to be the only man on stage.
You know, and we say today, and we say it's our day, really now. We want to embrace you. We want to show us back here in Africa, we know how to honor you. We know how to embrace you. We know how to also take the spear and be at the same warrior line with you. So thank you so much for being here, sir. While we are waiting for Noredia, because I know I saw that name.
Yeah, she's on attendees. I'm trying to promote her.
That is fine. Can we please have your 2-minute introduction, sir, Obafemi? Just the introduction.
Good evening, everyone. Greetings, Your Majesty and the Mother Queen, Numidia Kingdom. My name is Obafemi Jegede, founder, Women Income Organization. And thank you for having me here today. I hope I have a good time with everyone, and I can probably share my insights on how we can stop violence against women. Thank you.
Yeah, Noredia, can you come up to the panelists? I've been trying to promote you so that you can join. You need to come up right now. If you're having challenges, you can log out and log in right now.
All right. While we are waiting, sir, it's your lucky day today. So let us have a conversation. They will find us ahead. And I'm so glad that you are here as a gentleman. Now, also you are in Nigeria. I am in South Africa, and I am here also speaking on behalf of really the continent. We know the challenges that we are faced with here in our continent. What I would like to hear from you right straight on is, what do you think the religious organizations or the church can do to make sure that it changes the narrative and support the women and encourage having, or even for women to have a voice?
All right. Thank you very much. From my own perspective, when we talk about religious organization, I think it's high time the pastors, the imam, invite organizations to host seminars in their churches, just as they've been inviting comedians to come and crack jokes and make people laugh. I think if we can try to do that, that will go a long way, because most of these men actually are from churches and from mosques. You'll find out that people meet themselves at church, they start dating, and then the guys start abusing the girl. Then before you know what happens, they come under the pretense of Jesus or Muhammad. And then another thing is, when they're trying to talk to the pastor, pastors always counsel them with Bible, forgetting the fact that the woman is actually going through a lot, that trauma after all this that she's going through. So I would say it's high time the church and all religion institutions work with organizations and organize seminars specifically addressing gender-based violence and how it can be stopped. If we don't do that, we're moving around the circle, because we all belong to one religion, religious churches or mosque or whatever. But the bottom line right now is advocacy, campaign, vigorous hosting of seminars, workshops. Just like the Queen Mother have said, men are the perpetrator, right? And then it doesn't mean that they are superpower. They need. But one thing you should understand is, a lot of women right now, they've been damaged mentally through abuse. And then when you are damaged mentally, it's a work to actually revive that person, because the damage is mentally. And then if you are going through emotional problems, they start being suicidal. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And men are supposed to get involved in this fight. We cannot achieve our aim without having men on board. Not necessarily those that are abused, the abusers, but men, real men that can speak the word, that can stand for the women, that can stand for the girls, that can fight for them. Because, for example, in Nigeria, we have a lot of cases, but just few, 0.1% of them are getting justice. Particularly when it comes to religious organizations, they actually want to take it by religion and speak to the person, quote Bible, quote Quran, try to convince them that this can be leaked out. Maybe it's the pastor that's abusing member, maybe it's the choir master, maybe it's a deacon or something, somebody very powerful in the church, and then they will cover up everything. But I think it's high time people start speaking up and then defending the women. One of the things I always tell people in our organization is, we are not here to litigate anybody, but we are here to sensitize our men and to protect our women. Because until we can put together a very strong sensitizing program whereby we teach men on how to handle women, how to talk to women, how to protect them, and how to see them. Because what I observe, there's a root cause to this thing. Number one, our tradition in Africa has actually empowered women to abuse, empowered men to abuse women. Religion also has added its own into that. So we need to address this from the root cause. But one thing you should understand, there's some family today, the parents will be telling the girl child that, anyways, even if you get the education, you're going to end up marrying a guy, so I don't have to send you to school. And then they let the girl understand that you have to be a subject to your husband, forgetting that that particular girl will become a president of that nation. So while they are growing up, they run them down, they destroy their confidence, making them believe that will depend on a man to survive. So all those narratives need to change. And from there, that is one of the root causes we need to address, because of our cultural background as an African. So we need to address that and help the girl child. In Women Reform Organization, we have a program whereby we go to schools and help those girls that are really brilliant, but they're financially handicapped. Because we don't want their parents to run them down, making them believe that they cannot become anything, amount to something without a man. So there's a lot of programs that we need to put together, particularly from religious aspect of it. Let churches come out now. Let's work together. Let's organize program at church on Sundays. Instead of bringing in comedians, bring in organizations. Let's address these issues. You'll be amazed that a lot of girls in that church will come forward and speak up. Why are they not speaking up? Because there's nobody to speak to them, to build their confidence, to let them understand that nothing will happen to you if you speak up. Nothing actually will happen to you. If you speak up, you are helping the next person next to you.
Yes.
Because
all right. Thank you. You still have some time. You still have some time. You still have some time. We are here. That was just the first question. So don't give everything. Let us also now welcome Madame Honoradia Douglas Jombo. Madame, he has spoken some. Dr. Okika, I would like to request from you, my chancellor, my boss, my mama, if our Queen Mother, because I know from the traditional point of view, I know that the issues that are coming, and we have the network of South African Royal Princesses Network. And now we are also here with the kingdom, because most of the time we are not accessible as the royal community, accessible so that we can be able to bust the myths or set the record straight. So I was wondering that instead of just, while we are waiting for the other panelists, if maybe our Queen Mother can join us, who is coming through now, or can join us so that we can be able to speak to the issues that he's bringing up, to say tradition or culture has seemed to also be promoting the oppression of women and children. And I would like us to really speak on that. Luckily enough, we are, on the platform that has got the kingdom, because most of the time you find that there are no correct people to address that. Madame Honoradia, please give us your introduction and the organization where you are from. Welcome to
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It is always an honor to be with you all. I will stand on the existing protocol this evening. I am Noradia Douglas Jombo. I am from Lagos, Nigeria. I work for Triple J Foundation. Triple J Foundation is a foundation that was formed as a result of poverty in our society in Nigeria. Triple J Foundation looks after children and the elderly, children who are not able to feed. For us in Triple J Foundation, we don't believe in hunger and poverty. We believe that no child deserves to go to bed hungry. So what we do is we provide food, we provide clothing, we provide toys, and we ensure that every child knows his or her culture. So we teach children about who we are as a people, where we are coming from, and where we are going to. So that's basically it for us. We talk to children and we try to change their perspective about life, because what we see around us is all of bad news, poverty, hunger, and lack. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please stay with me so that at least our gentleman Richard can grasp some.
Yeah, Princess Queen Dina is on. I need her to be on video so I can bring her in. Queen Nina, can you start your video, please?
Okay, so that's fine. While we are waiting for her, thank you so much for the work that you are doing, Madame Noradia, the work that you are doing in Nigeria, looking after the children and the elderly. Wonderful. Do you have the Queen Mother that works with you from your region? I don't know how to do, whether you call them provinces, states. Do you have the royals that are working with you?
Okay, presently we don't have any royals working with us because we're just about a year old. But we have community leaders around us who are not royals, they're just community leaders. So we work with them to ensure that our children around us are adequately taken care of. And in terms of the elderly, what we do for the elderly is we provide healthcare. I have my wonderful husband, Dr. Jumbo, who is on top of healthcare for the children and the elderly, because we find that around our society, the elderly and the elders and the older ones are often neglected. And most times, because they have served the nation, when they are old, there's no one taking care of them. So we provide healthcare for them. We try to make them see that what they have done is not in vain, and that it's good to be of service to humanity, because most of the time, most often they've put in their time and their resources, and when they are old, they are now fragile and frail, no one to take care of them. So we manage them, their healthcare, their food, and their shelter. That's what we do. So for now, we don't have the royals with us, and we're hoping in the future that we will get the royals around us to join in this fight. Thank you.
That is great. That is great. That is great. So now we have our children, and I'm so glad that you are working with them. We are still waiting for the other one, and I know, Richard, I have not forgotten you. We are waiting for our other panelists. And we always say education must start right at home. Charity begins at home. Teaching these two children, the girl child and the boy child, that there is none that is above the other. What is the role that you do in that case?
Okay, so for us, I'll speak to the issue at hand first of all. Violence. Violence in any form is dangerous, is devastating, is not good. Violence, whether it's for the boy or for the girl child or for any human, is bad in all sense of it all. So from what we see around us, especially in Nigeria, there is a lot of violence against children and the women. And from my perspective, where I sit, I know that this problem has a solution. It is a global epidemic that is ongoing. It's not only in Nigeria, it's not only in Africa, it's everywhere. But we must look at it, like you said, from the family. We start from the family. How do we see the girl child? How do we see the woman? It's very important. You know, in our society, especially in Nigeria, we are culturally and religiously driven. So in terms of culture, we have a lot of culture that we need to relearn, unlearn, and change, you know. So in a society where the girl child is seen as just not like a proper human, when you give birth to a girl child or you have all girls, I personally have 3 girls, and most often I hear the questions I hear, oh, she has only 3 girls, oh, she doesn't have a son. We need to leave that space. We need to start that from the family. As a parent, what do you do? How do you teach your children? What do you say to the boy child? Most times we say to the woman, oh, you need to learn to do the chores. Oh, you need to do that. What about the boy? When you train the girl child to be so efficient, she can do all the housework, but the boy is just at home, just doing nothing, probably watching a video game or just lazing around. And then that girl child, that boy child is married to a woman someday. Then he begins to violate her because he sees her as a tool, as a slave, not as a wife or what do you call it now, a partner. We need to change the narrative from the family. I always tell parents, myself and my husband, by the grace of God, we teach parents about intentional parenting, being intentional about talking to your children, how you manage them from their schools and to even the communication you have with the children. We need to begin to teach our children, especially the girl child, to speak up. We need to change the narrative. In Africa, most times they say, don't speak, keep quiet. Do not soil the name of the family. Do not bring the family name to shame. What? And that child gets violated. The child cannot even tell the mother or the father. We need to change that story. And that is what we are doing. We are in Triple J, we teach the children to be bold. We teach the children to speak up. We teach the children that all humans are equal. The children need to know that all humans are equal. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. While we are waiting for the other panelists, Richard, I'm back with you. I think I'm gravitating around the name Richard. I'm kind of quite comfortable with it. Obafemi. I must be comfortable even with our African name. So I'm back with you, sir. And I like the organization that you are operating from, that you are advocating for, that you are representing. Let us change perhaps it may not be even the vision of your organization. What do the women in your organization do to change, to balance the focus? We always are focusing on the women being abused. There are also men that are abused. What do the women do? What is the contribution that women in your organization do to help those men that are also facing abuse?
Okay. Thank you once again. In our organization, what the women do, particularly to help men, is we have this thing we call gender sensitization that we do, whereby we go to schools, both mixed school per se that we go to. We educate the boy child and we educate the girl child, because we know this problem can only be addressed while the kids are still young and growing. Because the thing is, whatever you put in, just like computer, whatever you put in through the keyboard is what you see on your screen. So when we try to sensitize the boy child and they grow with it, we know it's going to make a lot of effect. Because one thing you understand is this: when someone is above 18, most times they have rights for what they want to do. They listen to what they want to listen to and do what they want to do. So we've taken a cognizance to start that gender sensitizing through schools and speaking to boy child and try to make them understand that it is how to treat a girl. Because those girls, just like my colleague has said, this is the family problem. Some family, they don't see girls as children. They just see them as, you really don't have a kid, you don't have a boy. And then some family, their boy child are extremely spoiled. So what we do is we go to those schools and then we educate those boys and tell them exactly how to behave around women. And we even tell the boy child that there are boys that abuse boys as well. We let them understand the signs that you should look out for to identify the perpetrator. The same thing with the girl child. So this fight is actually a global fight, but we need to address the fight from the roots, not necessarily talking to those adults. Those adults are there already. They can either listen to you or not. But let's start with the kids, with the boy child, and educate them why they grow. Don't forget, those kids you see there, in the next 10 years, they're going to be boys. They'll be boys. And then one thing is, if you don't train them, in the next 10 years, they'll be the one abusing the women, and they would have even probably left the kids of their age. And then, God, what is happening around the globe now? You see a boy of 15 years wanting to date a woman of 25, 30 years. And then they are very strong at that time. And they can do and undo because they always have clique, which they believe they move in group. So what we're doing is to address that problem from the root and speak to boy child from secondary school. And then particularly we target it from SS1 to SS3, because we know that those kids at that time, that is where they want to try different things around girls. Because as they are growing, they feel now they are now boys. They can do anything. But you can still catch them. We believe in catch them young, and then we speak to the girls as well and let them understand this is how to spot a perpetrator, a pedophile. What are the signs to look out for when someone speaks to you, when someone touches you at unwanted place of your body? There are a lot of ways that all these people attract these young girls and attract the young boys as well. So we are trying all we could to make sure that we tackle the problem from the roots, not just thinking, okay, it's an adult, let's advocate for these people, let's decide the older guys. Yeah, the older guys also need to decide because that comes in when it comes to financial abuse. And then, Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let us welcome, I don't know, is Queen Nina joining us on the pen as a panelist? Yes, Your Majesty, thank you so much. It's good to see you once more. And I think we also had Chief Monique.
She just came in and tripped off. She's coming in now.
Yeah, I'm here, Princess Sheppy. This is Queen Nina.
Yes, all right. There is an echo coming through. I don't know from which side.
You guys hear an echo?
Okay, so that's fine. Queen Nina, please give us your introduction and then I will just give you a question straight away because we are already, in the session. I think you are our queen in Ghana.
Yes.
And what I like is exactly that, because I was just missing that royal, that traditional rooted person, or how do I say, from or representing the kingdoms. Here in Africa, let me just not say here, I would like us to take the nations, the kingdoms, to bring the solutions of the principles and the values of Ubuntu, those that are ancient and they have worked. In the beginning of the session, Dr. Okika said, we grew up with our grandmothers and our mothers. Never did we hear about any abuse. We grew up as boys and girls in the big family, all of us being together as in this family. We have never abused each other. We have never seen any of the girls or boys. I mean, I'm talking about deep in the rural, as he rightfully said, as she rightfully said, that there was not even quite much of education. Nowadays, we are so educated. What did we do wrong to move away from the principles and the values of Ubuntu?
Are you asking me, Dr. Princess Sheppy?
Yes. You take your introduction and then you get into the question to answer.
Okay, greetings, everybody. My name is Queen Mother Nina Womack. I am from Los Angeles, California, USA, but I'm a Pan-Africanist and was installed as a Queen Mother in Ghana. So my stool name is Nana Adjua Akwesiwa the First. Now, I think that in the spirit of Ubuntu, that is something that we definitely should embrace and should practice. But historically, there has been many thousands of years of prejudice against women and misogynistic behavior, and I think it stems from a lot of the principles that people misconstrued out of the Bible. So men took, certain scriptures in there and turned it to negative, because in ancient times, especially in Africa, the woman was worshipped as a godhead, as a god figure, just like the man. So it takes, just like the male god. So it takes a male and a female to create anything, and then at some point, so the African female was worshipped as a goddess, and then at some point when people started interpreting the Bible the way they wanted, all of a sudden the femininity was removed out of the Bible, and we were supposed to be subjected to men. And we're really, God has intended us, if you do your research, as co-creators. And that has been since the beginning of time. Let's look at areas such as agriculture. There was women who were farmers and agriculturalists in ancient times, just like the men. So we were out there hunting and fishing. We weren't just in the house making babies. And that's what we have to get back into, that mindset that we're co-rulers, we're co-creators, and we deserve respect as women. To me, that is the spirit of Ubuntu, is equality. Thank you.
Well said. So very well said. So very well said. Now, I think any of you can answer this one, which is also what Richard said. He said culture tends to promote oppression and inequality in the communities. What are your views? Queen Mother, you can come in, ma'am, if you would like. What are your views? Anyone can tackle this and give us examples. I know we can say it shouldn't be done in all the, give us examples. Anybody who has encountered that. I did say that we are on the platform that has been really the event that is of the kingdom. So it is all fair and good that we address those things that we cannot speak through or about while they are not there, while we are not there. So today is the day where we can be able to address them and really also correct where there have been misconceptions, if you get what I'm saying. Anybody who would like to take that? Richard said so that culture or even religion tends to promote the inequality or even the oppression of women. Is that true or false? And what are your views?
Yes. Well, I feel, Princess Sheppy, that it's time for a re-education. So we need to get re-educated on how things operated in ancient times and go back to those practices where both the male and the female was worshipped as co-creators. So it's time for us to be educated about this truth so men can start to look at us differently. And so we can look at ourselves differently as females. We can stand up in pride and know that, hey, without us, men cannot exist. Without men, we cannot exist. So we must learn to work together.
All right, thank you so much. Noredia, we know that we have an issue of early child or marriages. What are your views on that, and what do you think can be done? We are speaking, we have His and Her Royal Majesty here. What is the message that you think they can help us to take to their counterparts, our cultural leaders or traditional leaders?
Okay, so thank you so much, Princess Shefi. The problem of early marriages is really worrisome, you know, and it's beginning to be very prevalent in our society today. One of the things we need to do about this is to, first of all, educate the parents. You know, you have this child, and you just want to give out your child to marriage for a selfish gain, whether it's because of money or it's because of to gain some powers or whatever favors it is that you want to get. We need to start from the home. We need to let the parents know the issues that are associated with early marriages for girls, especially. The reason is that most times when the parents give out these girls, they go to sleep. And this child deals with depression. This child deals with VVF. This child deals with disorientation and even hatred to her own self because she doesn't even understand the concept of marriage. She's not ripe mentally, psychologically. She's not ready. So we just dump her onto a man who will exploit her. I call it exploitation. So we need to start with the parents, and then we go on to the children. We need to begin to tell the children what is right and what is wrong, because the children that we see today are the leaders of tomorrow. They are our future, actually. So if a child knows that early marriage is wrong, that same child grows up in the next 10, 15 years to know that it is wrong in all sense of it, not to, give her own child or a relation's child to marriage. So we need to speak to the children also. It's not only about the parents, it's also the children. They need to know themselves. They need to love themselves and also prepare themselves for such an occasion where they are giving out in marriage without their consent. So thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you so much, well said. And now we do see the importance of inclusion, of bringing everybody, of working with everyone. I see we have His Excellency, Sir Makakuvu Ali El Bey. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Doing the chair, I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this esteemed discussion.
Thank you so much.
And I'd like to greet Her Royal Majesty Saida, Queen Saida, Her Royal Majesty Queen Nina Momac, His Royal Majesty Muabdi, King Muabdi, and the most esteemed Prime Minister, Her Excellency Dr. Okika. I greet you, Udama Akayu, a Lion of the New Dawn. And in listening to the discussion, I have to address something that was put in the chat. And that is that a statement was made of men being slaves to the cycle of abuse. And Her Excellency Queen, Her Majesty Queen Nina Momac made a statement about reversing and going back to the ancient traditions in Kemet. A couple of days ago, in modern day Kemet, Egypt, they opened up what was known as the Path of the Gods, a almost 2-mile long road lined with Sahu, sphinxes, that was part of the spiritual consciousness of ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt. I'd like to share with you something that is part of the construct of the universe. The Ankh. And many of you have heard me speak about the Ankh and the structure of the Ankh. The Ankh, the circle at the top represents the woman. The two bars represents the children. The stem of the Ankh represents the man. The Ankh tells us that the woman is on top. Many of you have heard me say, the woman is the mother of the nation. When you lift the woman, you raise the nation. And I commend Her Excellency Prime Minister Dr. Okika for bringing this forum, and many of us who are in this forum from around the world. There are over 50 people in this forum right now. And when I saw the flyer for this event, I made a comment in WhatsApp and I said, rise, Numai, rise. Rise, Numai, rise. Rise, Numai, rise. As the sun rises on the morning horizon, rise, Numai. As the birds sing praises to the heavens, rise, Numai. As the angels bow down to the Most High, rise, Numai. This Ankh and the expression, the vibratory frequency that many of you hear me say, Udama Akayur, Lion of the New Dawn. The lion is our consciousness. The new dawn is the resurrection of our consciousness, Udama Akayur, the vibratory frequency of spiritual liberation. Healing is in 4 dimensions: spiritual, psychological, emotional, and physical. In order for our people to heal, in order for humanity to heal, the pathway to healing begins with the resurrection of the spiritual consciousness. Truth. Truth is the only religion. Regardless of what you want to embrace as a mind control, a doctrine, Ma'at, truth. Ma'at is the weighing of the heart against the feather of truth. When the Ptolemies invaded Kemet, the Ptolemies are the Greeks. They outlawed Ma'at, as this Ankh is a symbol of creation from the Creator, the symbol of
Your
life.
Excellency,
Ma'at,
allow me to come. Thank you. Allow me to come in so that we can be able to capture the time that we've been allocated and also to include the other panelists. Please, thank you so much. It's a very valid point that you are making there. So please allow me. Chief Monique, are you with us? Chief Monique, are you with us? Chief Monique.
Unmute yourself and come up a bit. We only see your hair.
Chief Monique, are you with us? Chief Monique? Chief Monique?
Unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can now hear you. We just need to see you now.
All right, I'm sure you can see me now. I've just been in between flights and it's still a bit noisy where I am. So I was saying, am I the last panelist?
Well, not the last. We are still in conversation, but we would like to hear from you now.
If I'm not the last on the list of the panelists, I'd like to be the last because I need to leave the airport, so I'll just so I can take my questions calmly, please. I'm in an airport.
Do you have a minute to speak now? You can speak, and then we will release you because we are about to finish the session.
Okay, I can barely hear you. I can barely hear you, so I don't know if I will hear the questions clearly. But I'm available to speak in the next like 5 minutes. Let me just leave the airport baggage claim and get to the lounge so I can take the questions.
Okay. All right.
Did you hear me, please?
You. Thank you. Yes, I can hear you.
Did you hear me, please?
Thank you. Yes, we can hear you. You can mute until we will see you then when you are done.
I can barely hear you. I'm in an airport, so I need like 5 minutes to get out of the.
Can you see me?
You take your time. You take your time. Come out in less than 5 minutes.
Just give me like 5 minutes. I'll be a bit settled.
Yes, it is fine.
Thank you.
It's okay. You can mute. All right. Let us come back, good people. Sorry about that. Let us come back. Let's just come back. Richard, Obafemi, or shall we stay with Makakuvu? Makakuvu, please. Okay. Makakuvu, please, in just 2 minutes, sir. How can us as the indigenous community help to support the women? Few points that we can do, because everybody, I know this for the fact that everyone keeps on crying foul of us, you being the gray hair among us, carrying the wisdom, carrying the direction, carrying the order of how things used to be done. We would like to hear from you. How do we, this cry of the community, and now and again, the community keep on saying it is the culture that we can't bypass. It is the culture that is not coming on board. So how can we make sure that we are saying, this is not done, this is how it is done to support women and children? Few pointers within this few. We've been given now just 10 minutes that we need to wrap up.
Okay, so you gave me 2 minutes, Your Majesty.
2, 3. You will go pop, the pointers from the gray hair, the wisdom now. The nuggets of wisdom that you're going to give us.
The 5 cardinal principles of the Nubian man and woman. It can also be entitled the 5 cardinal principles of the universal man and woman. Belief in the Most High, creator of the universe. Belief in the family, the tree of life. Belief in yourself, the fruit from the tree. Belief in the community, the family of man. Belief in the pursuit of knowledge and truth. We must teach this to our children, Udama Akiyu, line of the new dawn. What that says is simply this. Those are foundation building principles for civilizations. As anyone can attest to, when the foundation is based upon truth, ma'at, the weighing of the heart against the feather of truth, the process of the judgment of the soul as it enters into the Wasket Ma'ati. The Queen Mother, Nina Womack, mentioned the term education. The teaching of our people has got to go beyond the indoctrination of what has been taught to us that has brought about our spiritual slavery. Our effort has to be about liberating our spiritual consciousness. And in order to do that, one must embrace truth. Ma'at. Ma'at is the judgment of the soul, as when the soul departs the body and enters into the Wasket Ma'ati, the double halls of truth. Let us begin to embrace Ma'at from antiquity and move forward. That is how I feel that Udama Akayu, the line of the new dawn, the resurrection of our consciousness, can be achieved.
Wonderful. Excellent. Excellent. I think even if I have to clap hands, that is the wisdom that we are saying. even from the biblical perspective, I think it's Deuteronomy 6, where it says, let all these laws be engraved on or be taught to your children, be taught when you gather together. Let them be on your wrists, let them be on your forehead. So let it be something that is spoken about. All these principles and these values of Ubuntu, these values that have taken us. So now I would like us to wrap up, each one of us now, to say, what are you going to be doing? So that it is not just our talk today and then the other days we are still going backwards. When we meet next year, or even from here, Dr. Okika is a professional. And I know that she also gathers the recommendations so that we can know as the kingdom, this is how we are moving forward from what has been said, the views that have been said, each one of us, through your organization or as an individual. We have heard about the talks. We know we have been talking, we know we have complained, but now we are saying activism, action points. What are you going to be doing? You are now taking accountability, you are taking responsibility, you are no longer holding somebody else. You are saying, this is what I'm going to contribute. Yes, now, Obafemi, we can hear from you, sir.
Thank you once again. On my side and my organization, we are going to be putting together a vigorous campaign to stop gender-based violence. You know, we're going to broaden our understanding on rape culture. We're going to have zero tolerance on all these things. And then we're going to make sure that boy child are well educated and the girl child are not left behind. We're going to make sure we put together an adequate and effective and functioning group that we're going to tackle that aspect of gender-based in Nigeria and globally, as our organization is an international organization, and we are doing all we could to make sure we tackle the problem girl child are facing. One important thing again our organization is facing is education. We take education very, very important because we know that once a girl child is educated, you've actually educated a nation, you know. So we're going to be going all out to make sure everything I've said, we put it in practice, and then we do our best to make sure our society is relieved or stopped completely from gender-based violence. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Madam Loredia. From here, what are your actions? What are you going to be doing? You know, I like to say, this is what I will stop, this is what I'll continue, this is what I'm going to be doing. So now what are you going to be doing through your organization?
So for my organization, we are having a Christmas party for the children. And one of the things that I'll be talking about is to the children is to teach them again and again about being the best that they can be, being confident, the ability to communicate, and then talk to them expressly about gender-based violence. It needs to be stopped. These children need to be taught. Most times they don't even know that they are being violated. You know, violence is not just all about, it's not only rape. It also has to do in terms of communication. So they need to begin to know when they are being violated and where or who to speak to. So that would be an integral part of what I'm doing this December for the children. Thank you.
Great, great. May you enjoy, please. I hope I get the invitation. You are saying you will be teaching them the assertiveness skills, self-mastery, who they are, know where they come from and know where they're heading, and knowing who they really are, their identity, and knowing when to stand and protect themselves and protect each other. Thank you so much. Our Queen Nina, what are the programs that you have already put in place so as to address this inequality, this gender-based violence, or really actively saying, this is the program that we have? What I love is that you are our mother, you are the mother of the nation, the whole community. So therefore, out of you, I don't know, I think fortunately, we are expecting both the man and the woman, the child, boy child and the girl child to be embraced, to be taught, and to be rebuked at equal level. So what are the programs from your kingdom that you are actively going to be putting in place to address this issue?
Thank you for that question, Princess Sheppy. Well, I am an activist speaking out against gender-based violence. I am a survivor of gender-based violence. As a child, I was repeatedly sexually molested, as well as eventually raped. I've been in domestic violence relationships, which are a direct correlation of the trauma that I had endured as a child, being molested from adult men. So I speak out. I'm an advocate speaking out, and I support our males, who are our young males who are out here on the front lines addressing gender-based violence. I recently have partnered with a young male-led organization, and I connected them with another male youth-led organization against gender violence, which is Mordecai, Princess Sheppy. I connected him with another young male, and now both of their organizations are out there speaking about gender-based violence. I've been a speaker on their programs, and that's what my mission, my activism is, to speak out against it, to bring this education and bring this awareness. Now, my skills are in multimedia. I run a multimedia company, so I also intend to make short films and video about gender-based violence issues. Thank you.
Great, great. I like that you are using your expertise to really bring that voice, because we always had the voice. We always had the voice. Now, you have touched on a very sensitive and a sensitive issue. Chief Monique, are you now in a position to speak to us? Would you like to unmute? Would you like to unmute? Would you like to? We can't hear you, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right. Now
Okay.
we will bring you, as we are now wrapping up, we will bring you. So I'm going to sit with you for a while and allow me to be and take you to the tradition. So you are chief. So should I say you are chief, as in the traditional chief?
I beg your pardon?
Or is it the name? The traditional chief, like we have, so Her Royal Majesty Chief.
Yeah, maybe Her Royal Majesty is a bit higher, but I'm a traditional chief.
Highness, yes.
Yes,
Your Royal Highness, yes.
Yeah, Her Royal Highness is obviously
Your
higher
Royal
and all that.
Highness.
Yeah, yes, I said
Welcome.
His Royal Highness, yes, obviously higher. I'm a traditional chief, educated, of course, and basically what I do is advocacy for girls, for women that are faced with violence, and then we try to do inclusion of women in the political sector also. We are like a pressure group, we're like a voice for the women, to make a case for them where they have been excluded from their rights and all that, and where children have been abused. We also intercede, we get authorities, we follow the story to the end. We try to restitute the woman or the girl child. First of all, I think I should apologize for being late. I had an emergency and I had to fly from one city to another. So when you guys started, I was on a plane. But once I landed, I hooked on. So I've missed a lot. I hope I'm going to be given another opportunity to be with you guys so I can learn all that I've missed. So the Nigerian setting could play a little bit different from maybe the international setting, but we've learned to deal with our violence issues based on culture and also on international best practices. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Hello?
Yes, you are still with us.
Okay.
Okay, allow me to come in before we get cut off. We now have a few minutes left. Allow me to come in and let's just be with you. And I'm going to be sipping the drink with you at the airport lounge now. We know that we base most of our values perhaps from the biblical perspective, which really, if you look at the ancient values, it is really from the African traditions, in essence. So now here is what we have been hearing a lot, that obey your mother and father. so that God can bless you with more years. Then
That's
the human
right.
rights, I like what you're saying. I'm bringing back to what you are saying. There are the civil movements and the human rights movement, and you are speaking from the cultural, or you are representing as the cultural space or community or indigenous community. Then the human rights are saying that child has got rights. She is supposed to stand up. And the father is saying, you are going to be marrying to this family. And the child says, I have a right. What is your views on that conflicting values?
Okay, based on child marriage, actually in Nigeria, what we are trying to practice now is to discourage child marriage. We take on issues of child marriage very seriously. The Women for Women community we go to the Senate, we sponsor bills to discourage child marriage. But back to child violence as defined by the Western culture. In Nigeria, in Africa, when a child grows up with a parent, it's not violence for a child to contribute to the home. A child runs errands, and those errands are all geared to making the child a full adult when he or she grows up, But basically, I don't know, regardless of how civilized we are going to be, the things that I know will not change for a long time coming is the fact that children have their roles in the community, in the homes, that must be adhered strictly, regardless of the amount of civilization we may have here in Africa, especially in Nigeria. The child must be sent on errands. The child must do dishes. The child must wash clothes. There's so much that the child must do. That also sort of prepares you mentally for adulthood, for the challenges of the world. But on child marriage, it's still happening, but we're trying our best to discourage it. But Islamically, I mean, the families that come from the Islamic communities, it's tough because it's almost, so they claim, inscribed in one of the expectations. We've taken up senators in this country who have married children of 14. But what he did, I think he left her at home. I mean, he sent her to school until she became an adult. And then before he could consummate the marriage with her. But basically, the child's psyche would not be the same because the child has lost all the years of being a child, the years of, playing with her peers. All those years would be lost. And regardless of how much education that child would have, the child would not be balanced. We've had a Royal Highness in Nigeria also that did the same thing. But his excuse was that marriage for the Islamic world, for instance, or for the royalty in Nigeria, is building alliances, not necessarily because for procreation reasons or because of hunger for more women. So what he did was he sent a child to school. In this instance also, the child went to England, became an adult, got an education before he could consummate the marriage. So on all fronts, the Women for Women community is trying as much as we can. First, we're non-governmental, so we don't have all the finances we need to do the things we need to do. So cases cannot be pursued too strongly because we use our own personal finances to pursue cases, for people that have been, people that are affected in violence, But we just keep trying. We just keep trying. So we get women that have like minds. We all work together nationally. We have branches all over the 36 states of Nigeria. We have groups of women under the umbrella of the Women for Women community that are doing like things, But wherever the case comes from, we attack it. If it comes from a state that's 10,000 miles away from us, we'll attack it. We'll take it on very seriously with authorities until the issue is resolved conclusively.
Right. Thank you so much. And you spoke about the very important word inclusivity. So in wrapping up, what are the programs that you have in place to address this gender-based violence, or to address, to say you are standing against abuse of women and children, and you are having a voice and also influencing the policies? Because I would like to believe that at the level where you are, I would like to pull you to bring you to that level where Noredia is depending on you to influence the policy within government, as we rightfully have said. So what are the programs and what is in the near future that you are working on to change these narratives?
No, we're hoping to get more support, first of all, because the more support we have, the more we can do. And then again, if we have the right support, we can set up stronger structures to help women, that have been violated, or women have been abused in their homes and all that. If we don't have the right amounts of funds that we need, we really will not be able to do much. So we're hoping that in the future, in the nearest future, that the government and NGOs, maybe international NGOs, will hear our cry and help us, because there's this much you can do. If a woman has been violated, by her husband, in psychologically, physically, and otherwise, and you're just talking mere words honestly are not enough to solve an immediate problem of a woman that needs immediate help. Because even when we take it up with the government, it's still not enough. They don't get the kind of support they need to get. They don't get that support. Like at the moment, there's a woman that was burnt alive during some campaign, some governorship election in Nigeria.
Yes.
We're trying to get her support for her children. She was the breadwinner, so her children are left unattended. Her children are left without proper education. So at the moment, we're trying to raise funds amongst us, a team of women.
Am I still there? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. It says now it's my connection that is unstable. We have arrived at the end of our session. It's been so vigorous. It's been so enriching. It's been so informative. It has been bringing both the perspective of the African culture and bringing the Western culture. And all of us, we are one people. We are one love. We are working for the healthy mind and holistic being of a woman. And thank you so much to His and Her Royal Majesty for having us and for the opportunity. My parting words are these: all of us here, we are gearing to having an African child, an African woman, an African father, to work together to bring a good community, to bring a good nations together back, and to bringing those values that we know. Now, we have spoken about the SDG, which is the access to education. We have spoken about partnership, which is what we are taking with us to say partnership is important. Everybody, we need to work together, both the angels, both the cultural leadership, the kingdoms as well, and the chiefdoms, we need to work together. Inclusivity in this decade of action, United Nations is saying, leave nobody behind. Indigenous communities, they must be included as well. Everyone, leave nobody behind, so that we can achieve our sustainable goals, so that we may have all what we want to see, the Africa that we want to see, or the African child that we want to see. From myself and the panel, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity and for enriching all of us. Thank you. Adios.
Today is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence against Women. Here at the United Nations and across the world, we are celebrating those who are working to protect women and girls and defend their human rights. And we welcome new partners, governments, organizations, institutions, community groups, people everywhere to join us. Raise your voices and work together to transform lives, not only during the 16 days of activism, but every day. Violence against women is a global crisis. In all of our own neighborhoods, there are women and girls living in danger. Around the world, conflict, climate-related natural disasters, food insecurity, and human rights violations are exacerbating violence against women. More than 70% of women have experienced gender-based violence in some crisis setting. And in countries, both rich and poor, gender prejudice has fueled acts of violence toward women and girls. Violence against women often goes unreported, silenced by stigma, shame, or fear of the perpetrator. and fear of a justice system that does not work for women. The COVID-19 pandemic, with all its isolation and distancing, has enabled unseen violence, a second shadow pandemic against women and girls. Where they often found themselves in lockdown with their abusers. In all corners of the world, helplines for violence against women saw an increase in reports. The human rights of women, including the right to security, dignity, equality, and justice, are core principles of international law. And we know that the leadership and safety of women in all their diversity plays a vital role in economic progress, community welfare, children's health and education, and more. All human life benefits when women's human rights are upheld, and we all suffer when those rights are abused. But there is hope. In recent years, much has been achieved to prevent and reduce violence against women and girls. The challenge now is to expand global efforts and make a difference in more lives. We must ensure that essential services are available and accessible to women of all ages. We need to support environments, online and off, in which women can participate safely in decision-making. New opportunities are opening. Last summer, as part of a $40 billion commitment to the women and girls of the world, the Generation Equality Forum launched the Action Coalition on Gender-Based Violence. The coalition brings together a wide array of women's groups and others, youth, civil society, faith-based institutions, philanthropy, private sector, international organizations, and UN member states. There will be concrete financial and policy commitments and scaled-up initiatives in critical areas, survivor support services, legal frameworks, and more resources for grassroots organizations. Today, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence also opens some exciting hopes. It begins the annual 16 Days Against Gender-Based Violence, a series of events aimed at creating real change. For 2021, the theme is Orange the World, End Violence Against Women Now. Orange symbolizes a brighter future free of violence. I welcome and urge you to participate. Women's groups and concerned people everywhere have been vital to the progress that has been made. Going forward, together, we can make life better and brighter for many more girls and women across the world.
Unmute yourself, Vanessa.
We thank you, Princess Seppi, and all of the panelists and Dr. Okika. So at this time, we will begin to talk about our call to action. And first, we will have Prince Campbell.
Greetings, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank Your Highness, King Mabdeep, and Queen for launching this initiative. We're going to briefly discuss social emotional learning involved. And I'm not sure if you could see my screen or how I can share a PowerPoint presentation that I have just to discuss the social emotional learning aspect of violence. I think I have it on this computer. Second. It's not important. I would have to switch computers, but
you have the sharing right. Go ahead.
I would have to switch computers. I'm using the tablet, not the laptop, so I'm going between 3 different screens. So, but I just want to say very quickly, the issue is extremely important, and there's a social emotional component that is causes an effect on people once they go through an experience type of violence. So there are five competencies we need to address, which is self-awareness about the incident itself, self-management of the incident, the social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making after or before the incident takes place. I want to just read one quick poem that I pulled up to highlight the importance of these issues and the value that a woman bring to the table, the forefront. It was written by Carrie West in 1954. I'm sorry, by William Golding in 1954. The author of Lord of the Flies said, and I quote, "I think women are foolish to pretend they are equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. Whatever you give a woman, she will make greater. If you give her sperm, she'll give you a baby. If you give her a house, she'll give you a home. If you give her groceries, she'll give you a meal. If you give her a smile, she'll give you her heart. She multiplies and enlarges what is given to her. So if you give her any crap, you're ready to receive a ton of SHIT." I think that's the emphasis that we're building on, is the support. And back to what Brother Makuvu said, woman is, the foundation on which we're building our societies. So in the call to action moving forward with how do we address the issues in reference to moving forward, a call to action would be, first, keep it very simple. We tend to believe that we have to mind our business in our societies, and that's more so on the individualistic aspect of where we live now, particularly in the West. I think there should be going back to a communal response. If you see something, say something. We have to hold each other accountable, because there are people being abused and violated, and we turn a blind eye to it. And that's the first thing. The question is, who do we say something to? The men need to address the men, women need to address the women, and we need to bring in elders and even the authorities if necessary. Be a resource. If you're going to present yourself to somebody, be a resource, be of value, share information, have something to tell them. There's shelters, there's religious communities, there's so many different resources that we can bring into bear, that we have to not just tell somebody, well, you just need to leave that situation and let that be it. I know there's some places called Out of Darkness is one of the homes in Atlanta, one of the organizations in Atlanta, that if you're being trafficked or if you're in danger, you connect with that organization. They will provide you with housing and move you from one area, whether it's from Atlanta to California to Houston to Nevada, and put you in a place and get you back, whether it's employment, and get you back to be able to sustain yourself by giving you the resources, helping you find the resources to restart your life. So it's always difficult to just pick up and leave. There's House of Ruth, across the country, Catholic Charities. There's a number of different organizations and churches, Methodist organization, to reach out to, that if you're being in a situation where your life is being threatened, you're being physically abused, you can be moved. And particularly if you have children involved, I think there's definitely a need to do that. The next is, we have to be empowered, and it's going to sound harsh, but we can't allow ourselves to be victims. We have to see the situation, no matter how tough it is, and be victorious. Work through it and overcome it. See light at the end of the tunnel rather than just see yourself in a box. And sometimes it's easier to be said than not, because in some situations, people are really being held prisoner, being held hostage. So you have to figure out a way to get yourself out of that box. If there's an opening, take it and find resources that's going to help you. because there are people being trafficked here in Washington, D.C. in large numbers. Little black girls and little black boys go missing in huge numbers. I can't tell you what the number is now, but early part of the year, it was several hundreds were missing, and they're saying that they run away. There's no way that many people can run away who's never left their quadrant and is able to stay off the grid, no cell phone, no money. There would be expert spies if they were able to be that elusive and that be that invisible in the United States. So it's covered up by the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. Recently, the Department of Interior's secretary just got the FBI involved to look at the disappearance of Native American women. We need that type of initiative, not just from law enforcement, but from the community, the churches, the families, and people to really pay attention when they see something that does not look right, to really stop and ask that question and get the community involved. And next, it's you're not alone. We have to learn to lean on our network, lean on our neighbors and families and friends, and let people know that situation that's happening. We tend to be embarrassed and blame ourselves for being in those situations. That's not the case. We find ourselves in situations because people are dishonest, and because they don't really present who their true selves are. They present themselves one way in front of public, and behind closed doors, they're a different animal. So being able to start having conversations, if you can't get online, utilize the internet, be part of these groups, the different groups online that you can research, get involved in, and get information so they can lean on your network to get yourself out of a situation that's harmful and damaging. And finally, it's for everybody. It takes a village. Everybody's responsible. So it's for everybody to pitch in and be supportive and provide any kind of assistance that's available to make our village, our society a better place. And with that, I yield for any questions anyone may have.
Thank you, Prince Campbell. We're sort of short of running with time. So we're gonna ask you to put your information in the chat so that anyone here can reach out to you if they have any questions for you. And we thank you for joining us today. Next, we're gonna have for our next initiative, Dr. Tamara.
Yes, good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome.
Yeah, do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, dear guests, all guests. So me, Dr. Tamara Al-Kalagasi, as a Peace and Goodwill Ambassador and the President of American International Education Federation and the President of the Global Women Development Network. It's my pleasure to be all together today in this meeting and conference where we will discuss it's been discussed many issues and many women's situation, and we're going to discuss as well the education rights, equality needs in my speech and women empowerment today. So gender equality is a human right, but our world faces a persistent gap in access to opportunities and decision-making power for women and men. Globally, women have fewer opportunities for economic participation than men. Less access to basic and higher education, greater health and safety risks, and less political representation. Women's health, education, and safety is another important area. It's becoming an increasingly impactful issue for women. Guaranteeing the rights of women and giving them opportunities to reach their full potential is critical not only for attaining gender equality, but also for meeting a wide range of international development goals. Gender equality means that men and women have equal power and equal opportunities for financial independence, education, and personal development. Women's empowerment is a critical aspect of achieving gender equality. It includes increasing women's sense of self-worth, her decision-making power, her access to opportunities and resources, her education, her power and control over her own life inside and outside the home, and her ability to affect changes. Countries around the world are working to contain the spread and impact of COVID-19 which a lot of evidence from the past indicates that women can be affected in particular ways. And in some areas here, women face more negative impacts than men. That's why we need to join hands together, and we've been working in many programs and projects to assist and support the women. Women stand to lose the most during the coronavirus pandemic, but steps can be taken to ensure that women's role in the economy and in all industries can be made stronger during the recovery phase. Economic challenges during the outbreak pose a serious threat to young women's work and business activity and expose them to increased risk of exploitation or abuse. The UN Sustainable Development has set 7 goals to transform our world by 2030. Goal number 4 is equality education, and goal number 5 is to achieve gender equality and empower women and girls. And my speech is really focusing on these 2 goals. The tech field is one of its main targets. I want to focus on a technology and the role of women can play whenever she's empowered and educated in technology. Women in tech fully support the UN Sustainable Development Objective by contributing to goal number 5 of the SDGs 17 goals. We will discuss here also the role of education, innovations, and technology in women empowerment. The United Nations stated that the whole world needs to focus on developing markets for innovations that advance gender equality, integrating gender issues within innovation, promoting women as innovators and entrepreneurs, and investing directly in the technology-driven innovative solutions that meet the needs of women and girls. Besides, building markets awareness, investment, and industry-wide actions to grow an innovation market that advances gender equality and empowerment of women and girls. Developing tools and methodologies with industry partners to take a gender-responsive approach to innovation. Promotion women as innovators and entrepreneurs, and investing in innovations and technologies that meet the needs of women. UN Women takes a partnership approach to accelerate industry-wide change and remove the barriers to women and girls' advancement in education, innovation, technology, and entrepreneurship. Educational programs and innovative approaches are needed to ensure that women, from entrepreneurs to informal workers to C executives, are empowered to actively engage in their economies. Technology education is a unique avenue to advance the economic empowerment of women and girls. All communities should work on closing the global gender gap in all fields, from education to business to technology to the rest of the field. Technology access to technology control of it and the ability to create and shape is a fundamental issue of women's human rights. One important factor here is women technology education. We need to help end the gender technology gap and empower women and girls to create innovative solutions to advance equality in their communities. And maybe at one point they will be able to create smart solution and be involved. It's the age of technology. Closing the gender technology gap means help girls access training, the educational opportunities in STEM, which is STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Also in economy, information technology, and in the fintech field. Fintech stands for financial technology. We should invest in work that helps empower girls and women to pursue opportunities in these fields. Decision makers and governments need also to consider to secure improved access to and control of technology for women and girls, especially in remote and marginalized areas. Women facing severe economic shocks are more likely to take on high-risk work for their economic survival. Responses to the outbreak must protect and support young women in economic empowerment through educational programs. The specific needs and contributions of women and workers, business owners, and entrepreneurs must be better understood and addressed when developing measures to reactivate the economy. all aspects from accessing financial rescue packages, credit and unemployment benefits, and to removing barriers for women to perform higher skilled and better paid jobs should be considered for the economic recovery to be effective, inclusive, and sustainable. Today, more than ever, there is a need and an opportunity to rebuild sustainable market system capable of generating value, positive impact, and profit at the same time. Also, companies should recognize this need as well as its competitive advantage to create specific business strategies aimed to reducing the gap between men and women. Stimulus packages must include social protection measures that reflects an understanding of women's special circumstances and recognition of the care of economy. This means ensuring health insurance benefits for women, those most in need, and paid or sick leave of those unable to come to work because they are taking care of children or elders at home. Also, leaders must find a way to include women in response and recovery decision-making, whether at the local, municipal, or national level. Bringing the voices of women into decision-making will lead to better outcomes. The women's empowerment should be through education and implementing principles and procedures and offering guidance on how to promote gender equality and women's empowerment in the workplace, marketplace, and community. We need a humanitarian structure that places women's needs, rights, and empowerment at the heart. That means longer-term funding cycles to enable them to take the empowerment approach. Women need education, technology, and business for the same reasons as men: to develop their marketable skills, enhance their economic opportunities, participate in informed decision-making, network, promote themselves as individuals, or simply to build their own life. Women need education and technology to participate in the modern world as equals. In summary, and to conclude, women need technology and business, education, but also more women in technology and business and education are needed to our world. So let's put our hand together to make this happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Dr. Tamara. Please put your information in for further questions. Dr. Judy.
Yes.
We're ready for you.
Okay.
The world is waiting for you in orange.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Ada, for putting us all wonderfully together. I love what Prince Ian Campbell has said about the plan of action individually as a psychologist. My job this afternoon is to talk about the multi-stakeholder approach, what we as people and as civil society, many of us come from all our NGOs and government, and the work of the member states at the UN, since I, for 18 years, have been an NGO representative at the UN. And so here we go. We do know that we've heard about all these incidences of violence, physical, sexual, and psychological. We also know about them from celebrities. Rihanna, the biggest celebrity star of one of them and singer, being abused by Chris Brown, the Baywatch babe, Pam Anderson. You could see here when she left Tommy Lee, the rock star, because he was abusing her little boy. And now the ongoing case of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. These are things that bring to our consciousness besides real people. And my heart goes out to the story we heard earlier from Queen Mother Nina. Bless you for your sharing about what you've gone through and our support for you. Harassment, trafficking, female genital mutilation, child marriage, all these issues we need to overcome. We've heard the data, women and girls experiencing physical and sexual violence, and so many millions in so many other ways that we must overcome. So in terms of what's going on at the UN, it is very reassuring to know that the heads are very head of the UN. Our Secretary General is aware of this gender-based violence increase, particularly during COVID-19 days and has spoken out against it very much. We know about this shadow pandemic of the violence against women and girls and the research that's been done to show how this has increased during COVID. The report by UN Women, we heard the new executive director speak earlier that indeed COVID-19 is hitting women hard. Countries need to step up to the plate. It is our job to make sure that they actually do this. And it is blessing that she has said what we heard earlier. The new executive director from Jordan that we heard. Now, good news is that a few years earlier, right before the UN closed, the Secretary General called for 50-50 parity. Those of us who were there were standing up and shouting and cheering that he said he calls for 50-50 women and men represented at the UN. This is very important. And then, of course, he appointed our Deputy Secretary General, Amina J. Mohammed, as you see right there, and many other women in his cabinet. And here, this just happened last week, the first meeting of the President of the General Assembly with civil society. There he is from Maldives. And he announced also to major cheering at the audience of the fact that he also supports 50-50 parity. A short message from him here I want you to hear because it is so significant. Here we go. Why isn't this playing?
Set an example.
Yeah.
I can show my commitment to gender parity. I made a pledge as PGA on the first day as PGA that I will not sit in any panel that is not gender balanced. And I have kept
That is amazing. And he has kept his promise because in his office is 50-50 parity. So we bless that and congratulate it. The UN Secretary General's Unite campaign is Orange the World, as we have heard. I'm wearing my orange. Vanessa, you're wearing your orange. I saw Dr. Ada has her orange logo behind her. This is wonderful. So orange, the color of brighter future, ending child marriage, ending intimate partner violence, ending FMG, oranging the world. And I know the Eastern, those of us who are Eastern among us know that orange is the center of sexuality, the power of the woman. And therefore orange matters. As you see here, this dynamic orange here on the right is all the chakras where orange is, and orange the center of the risk-taking and energy of women. The solution's okay. From a psychological point of view, my 3 S's, getting rid of shame, as you see here, silence and stigma, transforming stereotype, and making progress in justice for the survivors of violence. We will hear from the DPR Ambassador Suleimani, a good friend of ours from Sierra Leone, who will talk about their resolution that Sierra Leone is taking up about justice for victims of violence. And as a psychologist, let's get rid of the word victim. Let's call everyone a survivor, or as a young lady said, victorious. Words matter. I see Vanessa, you are shaking your head. Thank you for agreeing about that. The UN is also establishing a trust fund to end violence against women, a global grant-making mechanism, because we need money behind this in order to make these initiatives happen. And that's 25th anniversary of the UN Trust Fund, for which we need to put our money behind. Now, the Secretary General has spoken out about this. We heard earlier in terms of his message when he was wearing his orange scarf. And we also earlier heard from women who were the women who are disabled, who are part of this campaign, and very important to think of those who are left behind and the voices, the real voices of lived experience. And so I will play a little bit of that for us very quickly.
almost 30% of people in the world think today that it is acceptable for a man to beat his partner. We must push back against the pushback. That is why I I am a proud feminist and why I am personally committed to increasing support for women's rights across the board at the United Nations. So I asked him again, did you ever force any woman to have sex at gunpoint? And he said, oh, that's what you're talking about? Yeah. Isn't that what women were made for? I am gender equality. I am generation equality. Who are you? I realized that me being a black trans disabled woman is not important. It's important that who I am is a responsibility. And I want people to know me for who I am.
All right. And so that is so important that we think of women in all aspects joining together. We heard that word. We have, of course, two arms at the UN Women, the UN agency, and the NGO part of the Commission on the Status of Women that has a forum every year where all these women speak out. That's another plan of action that's so important. We heard earlier, of course, that in the UN agenda, the goal number 5 is gender equality. That has all of these targets, ending all forms of violence and discrimination against women, ensuring women's full and effective participation and their universal access to reproductive rights and health. During the campaign, there were always scarves that the women, the major group on women wore. They wore blue, they wore purple for climate justice, gender equality, and of course, orange, and all different, very powerful together. And of course, I, with my friends who are ambassadors at the UN, have organized, and UN agencies, WHO, UNFPA, and the UNICEF, the events at the General Assembly. The First Lady of Sierra Leone, and Ambassador Soleimani knows that very well, being the DPR of Sierra Leone, has spoken at our events about the importance of health for women and building health for women and health for girls. This is our event with WHO about Honor Our Girls. We will hear my very delightful music partner, a very brilliant musician internationally, Russell Daisy, here at our song, Honor Our Girls. Here's the event we just had, just last month. Hands Off Our Girls is her campaign. The First Lady of Sierra Leone. There's Ambassador Soleimani. You could see her right there in that beautiful dress, and me in the green, and many ambassadors, and the UN ambassador, the Sierra Leone ambassador to the United States is right there, the ambassador to the UN, the Minister of Health. All of these ambassadors came to celebrate the Hands Off Our Girls campaign against child marriage, against abuse, against all these issues that have plagued women, and handing out sanitary pads to women. In my interview with the First Lady, here's what she said in a short part of the interview. Very powerful statement about her campaign.
We're not only campaigning against rape, we're not only campaigning against early marriage, but we're making sure we keep our girls in school. My story is very close to this girl's story. I had been married off at the age of 11, and we're just waiting for when my husband, or supposed husband, was going to come and take me. So I know that feeling. I know how it feels. I know exactly what it is. You're not asked. You know, this is somebody you've been calling uncle, and then all of a sudden they turn around and say, well, this person that you're calling uncle is going to be your husband, someone that is over 20, 30 years older than you, and you're going to be there, and not only as his wife, but maybe his second, third, or fourth wife. We have changed laws. We've actually put a policy together where sentencing are now fast track. When you rape a child in Sierra Leone, it's not a bailable offense anymore. So if you're caught, you cannot be bailed until you go to court.
Yes, and so Ambassador Soleimani will talk about that, and Russell will sing our song, Honor Our Girls. It's important to know countries who are supportive of us, like Sweden, calls itself a feminist government. This is so important. and supported a book with the government of Georgia. I know we've had Atlanta, Georgia here, but I mean the government of Georgia, on once there was a girl, that reimagines all those fairy book tales we've learned from the point of view of a powerful woman. And in my own NGO, the International Association of Applied Psychology, we talk about advancing women's rights. I've written an article all about that. We do all kinds of events at the Commission on the Status of Women, about women in sports, about women who are disabled, about young girls, and teaching them entrepreneurship, which is so important. We have many panels at the CSW forums of my young students from Columbia University Teachers College who have done events about psychological support for girls in Nepal, which is very important, for intergenerational issues, which we've heard about, for Latinx girls and peace building, that women at the table for the Israeli-Palestinian issues. We draft statements for that. We do many events for the United African Congress. These are all part of a plan of action, doing something about gender disparities and its impact on girls and women. And during CSW, many priority events we do, as you could see over the years, and the Red Card campaign. What are the red cards? Those are the cards you put out when you have done something wrong in soccer. Well, if you've done something wrong violating women, there is now a huge campaign about that. And you can go on their website and pledge for your being part of the Red Card campaign. Generation equality is going on, as we heard before. It was started in Mexico, went to France just this past summer. There are events at the UN and many exhibits, as you see here, that have gone on. The Spotlight Initiative, which was mentioned earlier, to eliminate violence against women, that the UN has been supporting. And on a psychological level, as we heard from earlier from Prince Campbell, the social emotional learning part of this. And I introduced to you now Rachel Farm, my student at Columbia, to say a few words. She comes from Laos and the area and Thailand and the area of the East, who is so important about social emotional learning. And so say a few words, Rachel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Judy. Good day, everyone. It is an honor to be here and for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Rachel Farn. I have the privilege to be a student at Teachers College, Columbia University, studying psychology and education, and in Dr. Judy's class, Psychology at the UN, where we are diving deeply into the ways in which psychology is relevant and important to global issues such as violence against women. There are many ways in which social and emotional learning is a solution to violence. It teaches youth and adults how to understand and express their emotions, and this learning empowers young girls. It builds their self-esteem, self-compassion, their confidence, and sense of responsibility. It is equally important for boys and men to be educated in social emotional learning as they learn to develop self-awareness and self-management, which in turn will reduce violence and inspire a culture of nonviolence. Women and men united and working together is of utmost importance in eliminating violence against women. Only then can we heal from the experiences of violence and build the resilience necessary for a promising future. As a woman with roots in Vietnam, Thailand, and Laos, I am passionate about this topic as such violence in my communities in Southeast Asia as a whole subsists. This, of course, is a human issue. Thank you for the incredible leadership on this panel, for sharing their stories, for uplifting and advocating for women of Numia Kingdom and beyond as we work to spread the knowledge of social emotional learning to end violence against women around the world.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that. And we bless you also because the voice of youth is so important. And we have heard, in fact, that the Deputy Secretary General has said, just like the PGA has said that he won't come to an event where there isn't half of women represented, she has said there need to be youth at the table every time she speaks, because they are our future. And so thank you, Rachel, for that beautiful statement that you have made. And I will finish very shortly because there is an event that I did, actually a huge intervention in Lesotho about teaching girls how entrepreneurship and self-efficacy is very important for their resisting violence and saying no, and learning to say no as well as yes. And you see the picture there. Every Woman, Every Child is another major initiative that the UN is undertaking, that Russell and I have also done a song about. I want to also acknowledge Bahrain as a country in their region of the world who has a focus on gender balance and indicators that is so incredibly important. And what has been earlier mentioned, the He for She campaign. We are talking about how men need to be involved. The Women's Solidarity Movement for Gender Equality does include men. Mary Robinson, who has been the head of Ireland, has said, I was elected by the women of Ireland who, instead of rocking the cradle, have rocked the system. Thank you. We need to change our cultural narratives so that women are powerful, that there once was a girl, and go to the Anansi the spider, which is from West Africa, where women are powerful. King Tamar in Georgia in the 1170s was called King Tamar. That's a woman. She inherited the throne from her father, King George. And get rid of the stereotypic beliefs that we have that women can't take charge. In fact, they can. That women can have higher self-efficacy when they learn, roughhousing even. And I've learned that myself from my dad. You see me there with him, who said, when you go to the White House, speak up. If you're on the tour, you see the president, ask him a question. I said at 8 years old, what question? He said, it doesn't matter, make it up. That's how he taught me to be strong and empowered like all the women that we have spoken to here. Bless you all. Thank you all. This is an amazing panel. I turn it over to Russell. Honor our girls.
I have to have my video turned on by the host to allow me to get on. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
I'd love to be allowed to, by the host, to, yes, here we go. Lovely to see you all. And I want to let you know that, most importantly, my wonderful colleague is a very empowered woman, Dr. Kariansky, and my colleague, Dr. Ada Akiku. I love them both because they're strong women. And we wrote this song in support of the First Lady of Sierra Leone, Madam Fatima Madabio, and her campaign called Hands Off Our Girls. The song is called Honor Our Girls, but you will hear the words Hands Off Our Girls. Here we go. Honor our girls, our girls. Honor our girls, our girls. Honor our girls, our girls. They're the future of our country. Hope for the world. Keep them from harm, protect them from hate. Hands off our girls, no time to wait. Protect our girls, support them each day as they make miracles and magic for our world every way. Honor our girls, they're the love of our life. Hope for our future of our world. Intelligent minds, beautiful souls, loving and kind as they reach for their goals. A farmer or banker, a nurse or a preacher, merchant or lawyer, designer or teacher, or president of our nation. Anything's possible with a good education. Honor our girls, they're the love of our life. Future of our country, hope for the world. Honor our girls with a seat at the table. They're certainly willing, certainly able. Honor their strength, protect their power. Nothing can stop them when they are empowered. Empower our girls, they're the love of our life. The future of our family, the center of our community, the soul of our society, the core of our country, and our hope for the world. Honor our girls, they're the love of our life. Africa, honor our girls. Thank you. And I do believe that he for she is such an important movement. Those men on this panel, we want to thank all of the strong, empowered women who have invited us. It's a great honor to be here as we honor our girls, we honor the women. I honor all of you. My goodness, thank you so much. And I look forward to singing Every Woman, Every Child later in this program.
Thank you, Russell. Thank you. We're going to go back to Evangelist Victoria, Ambassador, after which we will turn it over to Dr. Akika, and Her Majesty will have the final words.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. And I just want to say I'm so excited to be here, having heard all these speakers, these learned speakers, these feminist activists, they have spoken. And I want to believe I'm one of them. And after listening to Dr. Judy, who took most of the words out of my mouth, Dr. Judy, how could you? She presented on the First Lady. Most of those events, actually, we have done a lot of initiatives together. She's a very good friend of Sierra Leone. I call her the advisor of the ambassador of Sierra Leone to the United States of America. So we have been very close doing initiatives on women's empowerment, women's health, and quite recently we are in Washington, DC. But Dr. Judy, permit me, please. My task here this afternoon is to speak about the UN's agenda for women the world over, where it links to what Sierra Leone is doing, the initiatives that Sierra Leone is doing. I will not talk too much about our national endeavors on violence against women. It's not a secret that President Bio has taken the gender equality and women's empowerment very seriously through the enactment of legislations, renewing old ones to increase punishment for perpetrators, the sexual offenses model courts, the one-stop centers that could comprehensively deal with cases of SGBV, male involvement strategies. There are a lot of strategies because our president in 2019 declared that he was a he for she. But permit me, let me start by saying, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ambassador Victoria Sulaimani, and I'm the Deputy Permanent Representative responsible for political affairs at the Permanent Mission of Sierra Leone to the United Nations. I want to thank the organizers and permit me to give honor to whom honor is due, the royalties on this platform. I don't know how to pronounce your names, but I will say your Royal Majesties. I say good afternoon. My good friend, Dr. Judy, all the royalties on the platform, I say good afternoon. I'm really pleased to be in your midst to share my own idea on what the UN is doing to support women or to end violence against women all over the world. So I will start with a common saying that has been around since the outbreak of the pandemic. They have called it the shadow pandemic. Violence against women has been referred to as the shadow pandemic. It has stayed around, and it doesn't seem like it wants to go, except with concerted effort, deliberate actions, like I said, what the UN is doing and some member states, including my country, are doing. That will help us. So that said, I am going to give you a brief background on how this all started. These 16 days of activism, how it started. It started as a global campaign some 30 years ago at the first Women's General Global Leadership Institute, and it was launched and it continues to be coordinated by an institution called Center for Women's Global Leadership. And that institution was founded in 1989 by a woman, a feminist activist called Charlotte Bunch, as a project of Douglas College. So this center is also an affiliate of the School of Arts and Science at Rutgers University. They designed the 16 days of activism on gender-based violence to include other significant events that relates to human rights, because they wanted to link ending violence against women with human rights violations. Because if there is a violence against woman, the woman is abused, her human rights has just been abused. So this activity, if you see, it started yesterday from the 25th, and it will end on the 10th of December, which is the International Human Rights Day. So you will see that in between the 25th and the 10th of December, we have the International Women's Human Rights Defenders Day, which will be on the 29th. So that one is observed to protect women who are defending women's human rights, either online or in person, because there are violence against women, even online. When you talk about violence, you're not just talking about the beating, the kicking, or sexual abuse, even verbal abuse on the internet. So that is a day that was declared to protect the women's human rights defenders on the 29th of November. And then we have the World AIDS Day that comes on the 1st of December. That day was declared for people around the world to come together and support those who are living with HIV and AIDS, including women, and of course, those that have died of AIDS-related complications. And then on the 6th of December, we will see another commemoration, the anniversary of the Montreal Massacre. We all know that fateful day, an enraged gunman entered a mechanical engineering school in Montreal. They call it École Polytechnique. Gunned down 14 women, wounded 10. He was really targeting women. So all of these days have been brought into this beautiful arrangement, this 16 days activism. And I could not have declined this invitation to join this discussion. So let me go now to my own area, what the UN has been doing. Since Beijing, you know, the 16 days activism was launched in 1991. And 4 years later, the world met in Beijing and they adopted the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the most transformative blueprint on gender equality and women's empowerment, the global transformative blueprint. And on that agenda, that Platform for Action, 3 critical areas of concern relating to women's human rights was highlighted: violence against women, women in armed conflict, and women's human rights. The world is still looking into it today. So this was a beautiful blueprint that is being considered every year, either at high-level meetings where the heads of state will sit down and evaluate what they are doing. So this is a beautiful thing and we must keep doing it. And then the second program that the UN has, the initiative the UN has taken, is the Unite by 2020. It is a campaign by the UN Secretary General, the then UN Secretary General, Ban Ki-moon. In 2008, he launched a campaign that was called Unite by 2030 to end violence against women. And this was a call for global action to increase awareness, intensify advocacy efforts, and share knowledge on innovation to end violence against women. That is another initiative that is still being pushed. And then, of course, the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals. If you want those goals to be implemented, just mainstream gender issues into all 17. Don't leave anyone, but the specific one that relates to women is the SDG 5 Dr. Judy spoke about. But there is a specific target that speaks about eliminating all forms of violence against women, which is target 5.2. So the UN has been on top of its game and bringing on board member states. Sometimes we are called to give account of our stewardship to the blueprints that we voluntarily adopt, because we have the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination. You have the UN Security Council resolutions 1325 and all the other resolutions that form together the Women, Peace and Security agenda. There are lots of initiatives, even in the General Assembly, that I cannot highlight here because we will not go today, but I just want to highlight the specific ones. All these are laudable initiatives. You have the declaration of the International Day in 1993 to end violence against women. All these declarations are there, resolutions are there, but the one that is that is really pressurizing the world to take action is the Women, Peace and Security. The Security Council of the United Nations is that organ of the UN that is the most powerful, because if it adopts any resolution, it is legally binding on all member states. We go to the General Assembly, we can make declaration, but the one in the Security Council is legally binding. So this was why member states were called upon to adopt national action plans to implement that resolution. They said, this one is not for the shells, you must implement. And most of our countries have done very well with the Women, Peace and Security agenda, wherein they see that women are disproportionately affected by conflict. And of course, including COVID-19, it's not any exception. Conflicts and humanitarian emergencies. We saw what happened during the Ebola in Sierra Leone. We saw what is happening now, where women are forced to be locked down with their abusers because of all the restrictions that COVID-19 posed, and the protocols posed upon all of us. So these are some of the endeavors. And then we see in 2010, the UN established a whole entity. There were 4 entities that were merged to form one robust entity on gender equality and women's empowerment, which is the UN Women. So the UN Women has not relented. You heard what the new executive director said. I cannot echo, but they are very much on top of this issue of ending violence. They have prioritized it. It is one of their flagship program initiatives, and they are really financing it. There are resources set aside for those kind of programs, and they are backing it up with gender statistics, because if you can count it, then you can address it. You cannot cater for people, you don't know the number of people you are catering for. So that is the importance of gender statistics, and UN Women has put that one on their agenda. So we have joined other member states. We are looking into that issue. Even the issue of widowhood, that people were silent about, the UN was deadly silent on the issue of widowhood. And what they had was just a declaration, June 26 as the International Day for Widows. What next? No actionable plans for widows. It is my country that led a resolution that is now, it will be adopted this December in the General Assembly of the UN on widows empowerment. Widows, their cases were just taken as gender issue, women, advancement of women, women's human rights. Let it be a stand-alone issue, says Sierra Leone, and we drew all of the Africa. So now it is being considered as an African resolution, which is beautiful. The P5, all the big countries have joined that endeavor. So I want to believe it is going to be a consensus resolution. And once it is adopted by consensus, the message is very strong, because it is all 193 countries of the United Nations that have spoken. And then let me look into the issue of the generation equality. My sister, the ambassador, Dr. Tamira, she touched on it. This was a laudable initiative of UN Women, Mexico, France, and some civil society organizations. It's a multi-stakeholder platform, an intergenerational multi-stakeholder platform to bring people together to advocate for the implementation of the existing normative frameworks that we have adopted. Member states are in the habit of not implementing what they endorse. Well, we adopted it by consensus, so what? Don't adopt it and put it on the shelf. Adopt it and implement, because if you don't, then it's as good as no action. So now the generation equality has given birth to a compact. There's a compact on women, peace and security and humanitarian action. People wanted to contest it. So Sierra Leone again, we got up, small country with a big heart, to say, no, don't contest this. This is not reinventing the wheels. This is just the first step towards accountability. We want to hold you accountable. You said you have national action plan on women, peace and security. What are you doing with it? What are the commitments? So most of our countries, my president was in Paris, were virtual Paris, because we are not there in person. He spoke, he made 2 bold commitments on financing the BPS agenda and gender equality and women's empowerment, and women's economic resources and other services that they will provide for women. All of these have financial implications. Sierra Leone is not a very rich country, but if, you know, where there is a will, there is always a way. So we will find the resources to implement and make sure we deliver on that promise within the next 5 years, because they gave us all members of the compact. Anyway, Sierra Leone is a member, one of the few countries that is a member of that compact, the board of the WPSHA and humanitarian agenda. That is a laudable initiative that UN has taken too. So the UN is making progress. They even have a UN Trust Fund to end violence against women, the only global grant-making mechanism dedicated to enabling, preventing all forms of violence against women. But this one is crying for resources. There's funding challenges, so people are allowed, philanthropists, whatever organization you have, if you can finance that trust fund, please donate so that violence against women will be dealt with in its entirety. As I have said, I indicated before that violence against women got exacerbated by the pandemic. And so we need to do something. We have been doing a lot, but we need to do more. And 16 days activism is a good idea. I don't contest that one. But how do we join others to make sure this this entrenched menace is brought to an end against women? We know that GBV has been persistent, but it is not inevitable. We can fight it. We can prevent it with deliberate, consistent, and concerted actions. We can all stop this. So what are some of the strategies we need to adopt in addition to what the UN has done, all the mechanisms they have put up? Let's start by believing in the survivors. If you believe in the survivors, you'll be able to address it, because some people, when they are raped, they don't come up, the stigma. And there's this one question they ask, what were you wearing? That's the most outlandish question I don't like people to ask a victim. So if she was wearing something, she was wearing it for her comfort. That doesn't mean you can come and rape her. So believe in the victim, in the survivors. We don't use victims. And this is where Sierra Leone has again stood up at the UN and brought together all countries. We are now forming a core group. We are going to have the UN adopt a resolution on international cooperation on access to justice for survivors of sexual violence. You don't only grant them access, and remedies too, so that when the perpetrator hears that message, he will think twice. So this is the initiative. The text of the resolution is already in circulation. Member states are now negotiating on what's, the line by line until what they are going to adopt. And then in January, hopefully, we are going to adopt a consensus resolution again on this very important issue. So we are getting the UN to do more on top of all what they have been doing since Beijing. And then the other strategy is, let us adopt comprehensive and inclusive approaches. Somebody talked about inclusivity that tackle the root causes. What are the root causes of all of this violence? Is it poverty? Is it lack of education? Most of the speakers here have highlighted some of the root causes that I don't need to echo, but let us come together and address the root causes. Because if you deal with the roots, you kill the roots, you have killed the plant. Yes. And then the third one, transform harmful social norms. Lots of harmful social norms. People just say, oh, especially in Africa, where I come from, most people on this platform are from Africa. So you know what we are talking about. Those negative stereotypes. Women cannot do this, FGM, a lot of harmful norms. We have to transform them to do better, into something better that can speak, that can empower the woman. And then the last but not the least, let us empower our women economically, professionally, educationally. We have to empower them. When you empower a woman, she can stand up and speak for herself. She doesn't need an advocate. I can now stand up and speak for myself because I'm empowered. I sit at the UN where everybody is speaking, and thankfully I have a mouth and I can speak. I'm using my vocal cord so I can speak for myself. But people, let's keep talking. Let's keep empowering. This will help address this issue. So I mentioned about survivors. With survivor-centered essential services across policing, justice, health, and other social sectors, and sufficient financing for women's rights agenda, we can end gender-based violence. Sierra Leone, as I told you, will be tabling that resolution, and we are hoping it will be by consensus. So let me just end, Dr. Judy. I did not touch on what the First Lady said, because she has already said this and everybody heard it loud and clear. But of course, my country has done a lot. So let me close by calling upon everyone, those who are hearing this message now, if you will be hearing it, either it is posted on YouTube or wherever they post it on social media, please come join all of us and let us respond to the many, many calls to action, either by civil society, because this 16 days activism is a civil society movement. It started as civil society, the UN bought into it, and all of us are now key into it, and we are adding our voice. So come join us. Let us fight this menace. Yes, 16 days is good, but this is not an issue that we can do only for 16 days. Let ending violence against women, advocacy on ending violence against women, be 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 or 66 days a year. This is what we will call deliberate action, and we must do it together. We must end all forms of violence against our women and girls. I thank you for listening. Thank you.
Wow.
Hooray.
Every woman, every child has been mentioned so many times during this beautiful presentation and webinar. Of course, it was, and still is, Ban Ki-moon's, our former Secretary General's program to save the lives of 15 million women and children. And when we speak of women, we're speaking of children, and that represents boys and girls. And boys grow into men, and men must be raised by beautiful women like the women on this panel today, who empower boys, but don't treat them like princes. Allow them to also be efficient and learn how to do things around the house. Don't be treated like they're entitled to not be responsible, loving, kind, and honoring of their mothers, their sisters, their grandmothers, their teachers, and of the powerful. And we would not be here without our mothers. So I'm saying this as a man, again, repeating the words he for she, every woman, every child. Every woman, every child, every woman, every child, growing stronger every day, more empowered every way. Every woman, every child, like the gentle hush at dawn, like the rising of the sun, with a spirit next to none, a new day has just begun for every woman, every child, every woman, every child, every woman, every child, more empowered every day, growing stronger every way, every woman, every child, every Woman and child want the simple things in life, a place to call home, a place of their own, a place to be safe and free. Every family today wants to grow and to thrive. Food and school for the kids, clean water and air. Every day they're alive and survive. Every sister, every brother, every father, every mother, when we all unite as one, feel the power that can be done by every woman, every child, every challenge you must face, every mountain you must climb, every lesson learned with grace. There's a new dream to embrace for every woman, every child, 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 every woman, every child. Every woman, every child, every woman, every child, more empowered every day, growing stronger every way. Every woman, every child. We love all of you. Dr. Judy and I wrote that song with so much love. It's been performed literally for probably 60 of the UN ambassadors. It's been performed for Mrs. Ban Ki-moon and for UN Deputy Secretary General Aminu Mohammed at a beautiful SDG honoring ceremony hosted by Dr. Judy. And it goes on. And it goes on, and I thank Dr. Ada so much for asking me to sing this song. It stirs my soul, and it's from the hearts of two people, Dr. Judy Kuryansky and myself, for the women and the children, representing the boys and the girls who turn into men and women in this world. God bless.
Thank you, Russell.
Bravo.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes.
Namaste.
Yes. So we're now going to have His Majesty to come in and give us closing remarks.
Greetings, everyone. I'm very impressed with the panel and the wisdom that's here today. It was brought to my attention on the day of my coronation, were about the women. And through my coronation since 2017, to build the kingdom, to reestablish the kingdom name that was at one time before it was conquered by Rome, to have this kingdom be recognized through the women. I remember having a long conversation with Marco Kuvu to make sure this kingdom respect the women, because the kingdom is a theocratic kingdom. By being theocratic, that means directly be presented by our creator himself. So the mother, father, God of all, that is mentioned to our bylaws is respected through the woman. So again, that each person that presented today will be receiving a certificate from the crown signed by the Queen and I. I will need the names for every panel, every person that was here today, that was a part of this group. They will receive a ticket directly from me with a signature from the Queen and I. And it will be presented through Dr. Okika. She will issue it out to you all. So again, the colors that were presented today represent the woman will be in that certificate orange. And you will see that soon from me. As a man, it's hard because we've been taught to be leaders, be dictators. And it never was given to us how to respect the woman. And I had to learn the hard way. Believe me, I had to learn the hard way and step back and humble myself to realize that it is important for the woman to have that place. And I have to give that honor to the woman because I come from a woman, and that's my mother. And I have a dear love for my mother and my great grandmother that taught me how to be that man. But at the same time, the push to be a hard man come from men who try to push me to be a hard man. And I can't be a hard man because I still have that love that I was learned from my mother. So I want to thank Marco Kuvu, who my spiritual advisor to the crown. And also I want to thank Queen Mother, my mother, who put me into this position to understand the woman passion. So again, as you may know, I've been on the phone off and on. You see me talking in the background. I was actually talking to the lawmakers to change some of our laws and our constitution in the kingdom and put bylaws to protect the women globally and also within the kingdom jurisdiction. So this is being presented to our lawmakers as we speak. So it will be a special session with Madam Prime Minister Dr. Okika and also Gupta Kristen and Tasha to push these mandate laws to protect our women and also globally. Thank you all for having me and thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Well, we have a day that was well spent. We would not have want to have been any other place today but here. And we thank each one, each place, each country that has been represented here, each panelist that has come on and given us knowledge that we can take and use this to move forward in all the initiatives that have been placed before us. We hope that you all have a great rest of the day, great rest of the morning, rest of the evening. We thank you, and thank you for having me as your moderator for today. This has truly been an honor. I thank each and every one of you, and have a great afternoon.
Wonderful. Phenomenal.
Globally, 1 in 3 women and girls worldwide have experienced physical or sexual violence during their lifetime. Less than 40% of them seek help of any sort, and of these, only 10% seek support from police. And of all women who were victims of homicide worldwide in 2012, 50% were killed by intimate partners or family members. This situation cannot be overlooked. And although progress has been made, the end of violence against women and girls is far from today's reality. UN Women is committed to this cause and works with governments, national actors, women's organizations, and the civil society to end violence against all women and girls. The international community recently agreed that ending violence against women and girls is an important target for a sustainable future and a crucial matter to achieve the SDGs. During this process, we must make sure that we reach the lost woman. By its presence in more than 85 countries on all world regions, UN Women actively contributes to making this possible. We support countries in many ways, including adopting, implementing, and evaluating comprehensive laws and policies, addressing the root causes of violence through prevention strategies, and working with communities to change the social norms. Ensuring that essential services and support are accessible to all survivors. And collecting data and conducting analysis to fully understand the nature and extent of the problem. UN Women envisions a world where all women and girls are equal and empowered members of society, free of all forms of discrimination and violence by 2030. But let's not wait until then. Let's act now. We need your help and commitment to make sure that we reach the last woman. Together we can make it happen. If not now, when? If not you, who?
If not now, when? If not you, who? Let's join together in education and stopping gender-based violence. I thank you all for coming. Thank you, Ambassador Vanessa, for the wonderful coordination. Thank you, Princess, my good friend, Princess Tishepi from South Africa. Thank you, Dr. Judy and Russell. Thank you so much. Every woman, every child, honor the girls. It is a passion. And thank you, Queen Majesty, for bringing such an initiative out for the Numan Kingdom. And His Majesty for look, Ambassador Vanessa, can we honor him a he for she?
Yes.
Yes, so today we crown you, His Majesty, a he for she. Dr. Judy, do you support? Ambassador Victoria, are you with us? He's now a he for she.
Absolutely. Love you. Amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So
all.
let's start it now. If not now, when? If not you, who?
That's
Say
right.
me. Are you involved?
I am.
Yeah.
Let's stop the gender-based violence. Let's join together, whether you're a sister, a brother, a husband, a friend, a boyfriend, or man friend, or what. Let's join together and put a stop to gender-based violence.
Yes.
I thank you all for coming and get us more. Vanessa, we are going to come to the radio very soon.
Oh, yes,
Thank
please
you.
do. Please do.
Thank you, Ambassador Victoria, for your time, for your input and giving us that wider exposure. And to the panelists, wonderful, wonderful. Where is my maid and Unimaid? Oh, she's off. And Chief Makakubu,
Yes,
is never in vain. Thank you.
Rise, Numai, rise.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all. So it's what a wonder. We apologize for the longer section, but I think it was informative, it was educative, it was fulfilling. The next thing now is that we need to get on board. Sisters, brothers, husbands, wives, boyfriends, friends, brothers. Let's join together to stop gender-based violence.
To Dr. Curiosity, how are you, Dr. Curiosity? Excuse me, Curiosity. It's been several years since you and I have seen each other.
Yes, after COVID, you'll soon see her again. Get ready. Get ready. Who are those that have not appreciated? Oh, women reform. Get ready. Oh, who else? Noredia Jumbo, Dr. Jumbo, we are here. You are Princess Shepi from South Africa. The Queen Nina. Oh my God. Oh my God. Rachel. Oh my God. And all who are still here. Dr. Richardo from, I think, Ecuador, right? Can you say something? Dr. Richardo, you have been testing from, I think, from Ecuador. Yeah, can you unmute and say, oh, you can't talk, sorry. Okay, let me promote you. We are promoting everybody now. I'm promoting everybody now. The race is ended. Can you say something, Dr. Richardo? Let's see you all the way from Ecuador. And Freeze a native, I think all the way from where? You mentioned where it's come from. Are you still on?
Ada, sweetheart, put on your camera so we could take a big picture of all these beautiful people.
Oh my God, put on your everyone be on video right now.
You look so beautiful.
Everyone be on video right now so that we'll take a picture. I have to get to the gallery right now. So everyone be on picture. If you have a good camera, take a picture. Ambassador Victoria, I can't see you on. We need a picture. Oh my God.
Prince Campbell and Douglas, you need to put on your camera so we can have a beautiful photo.
Yes.
Trying to work my camera.
Wow. Where is Her Majesty? Okay, I can see her.
Excellent event, Dr. O'Keefe.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hold on, I'm still trying to work my camera.
Okay.
I'm still trying to learn it.
Douglas, put on your camera.
Friesen, we have Friesen from Germany or somewhere or someone country mentioned where he's coming from. I can't trace his chat.
How you find the camera on this?
I know we had Friesen native from Lugansk Republic in Eastern Europe.
Yes, I think so. Oh my God, what a wonderful event. Thank you. All right, thank God.
Madam Prime Minister, if you can, please, I need the names of everyone so I could start working on getting the certificates out.
I will.
I want to at least have them out by next week.
No problem, I will.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and let's get on board.
We all honor you.
Let's get it out.
On this Thanksgiving, we all give you.
Okay, another picture of the prince just came in. Ambassador Victoria is not yet here.
Oh, now we go.
I have a very.
See Dr. Jumbo from Nigeria. Oh my God. Well done. Oh, you've been at the background, right?
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you so much. I'm super excited. I love this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Thank you, Magakubu. Thank you. This is great. We are all on board.
That's the Nigerian voice speaking all the way across the ocean.
Yes. Dr. Okeke,
oh my God.
Throw a party.
This is a party.
Can you see?
This is all thanks to you, Ada. You have brought us all together. We love each other and we love you.
Yes. Mwah, mwah.
Thank you.
Oh, can we do this?
Thank you. Oh, okay.
Dr. Ada, we give our heart.
Absolutely.
Wow. Thank you all for coming. God bless you. I'll send the YouTube video right now.
Right. Excellent.
This was
Happy
a powerful morning. A very powerful. Oh, the Dalai Lama said, powerful, very powerful. I would say that was definitely this morning. Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. Richardo, since you can't be on video, can we hear your voice where you are? Can you speak? Can you say something? Oh, he can. He said he can't be on video. Okay, fine. That's fine. So it was a day. Thank you all. See, we didn't even feel it. We were extended up to 1:30. Oh my God. I have to save this shot.
It was a day, Namus Day.
Yes.
Namus Day.
Ada, no one wants to leave. We all.
I tell you, no one wants to leave. Can you believe that?
No one wants to stay.
I'm having so much fun. I don't want to leave.
The love. The love, right?
Have never seen an event like this, Ada, where everyone wants to stay and hug each other and hug you.
Can you believe that?
Right?
Thank you. Thank you all.
That's all.
Judy, that was perfect.
Thank you all.
Perfect. It's like the emoji. It's like the hug emoji.
Oh boy.
I love you all. I thank you all. But I'm 30 minutes past for another Zoom call.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's another Zoom call.
Thank you.
And we will get ready for Ambassador Vanessa's radio program. until sisters join together.
Yes.
Gender Life
Yes.
Initiative.
Yes.
We
Yes.
are coming on board.
Such a learning experience. I tell people I've never been to Africa. So many people said, why are you so interested? I said, my heart is there. Apparently I was born there and I reincarnated into who I am now. So that's why I'm still
Africa still remains the Mother Earth.
Yes.
Africa still remains the continent.
Yes.
So nobody can dispute that.
Yes, but you know what? I do so many.
Nigeria remains the Mother Earth, the giant. So we can't divide it.
Giant of Africa.
Yes, I do so many things. I have so many attachments to Africa. And it's so, I mean, like 3 or 4 of my other projects that I'm on, we're attached to Africa.
Can you believe that?
It's unreal, and I'm like that, and I've never been there.
Get ready, when the COVID subsides, we all move to Africa. We storm Africa.
Yeah, that's our other space. That's what I tell people. That's the other space. But you all have a great afternoon.
You have to.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Vanessa.
God bless you all.
So you were in Africa today.
Yes, I was. Yes, I
was. You certainly were. You did a beautiful job.
We won't leave until you end the.
I think so. I have to end it for us to leave. Okay, happy Saturday, happy Sunday, and